Hello and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons. This is Star Wars Saturdays. It's part of the Gauntlet community. The Gauntlet community is a worldwide group of friends, aficionados, and fanatics of indie RPGs, small book RPGs, and OSR. We are in the second of 4 sessions this month in January 2019 of Primetime Adventures. PTA, as I will call it, is a game of television drama by Matt Wilson of Dog Eared Designs. It's the 3rd edition. Had a Kickstarter that completed around like 2015, I want to say. And this is a game that is specifically built to tell series, like mini series of a TV show, with each session of the game being a television episode. And so it uses a lot of those conventions to frame an RPG session, which is really exciting. And we had a pilot after we created our series last time that we met. And now we're going to do basically a 3 episode, sorry, I've been running a lot of masks, 3 episode mini series that is currently starting off in Tatooine, and it is set during the time period of Return of the Jedi movie. So the events that have happened from the movie standpoint so far is that Jabba just got murdered by this princess and some dude with a laser sword and some blind guy. So the players have been involved in that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in previously on. Now, in the first session, Horst wasn't able to join us, but he is able to join us for the remaining 3 sessions. Very excited to bring him into the fold. So let's start off Horst, let's talk a little bit about IG-78, and then we'll swing back around to talk about the previously on, reintroduce our characters, and move forward. So tell us about your character.
So IG-78 is an assassin droid, an Imperial assassin droid, built to kill innocent folks. And I don't know if you guys are as nerdy as I am, but IG-88 was the very tall bounty hunter that stands next to Boba Fett when Darth Vader gives the tells them to look for the Millennium Falcon. So they are a mean-looking killer robot. And IG-88 was so aggressive that they killed their creators like a minute after they got conscious. And I think IG-78 is probably, although the number is 10 digits lower, it's probably the next model, where they took into account that maybe making them so aggressive that they kill their own creators is not a good idea. And then somehow the rebellion get hold of IG-78 and reprogrammed them. And so in technical terms, so in the terms of what makes a character in PTA games, the concept is reprogrammed Imperial assassin droid. My issue is that I am ashamed of my past, the past of being a killer, killing innocent folks. The impulse is when stuff gets edgy or wrong, then they reach, what's it called? Like they get violent, they get aggressive. The personal set is probably the droid repair workshop. The edges, or the edge is a conflicted former assassin, and the connections are Modo, the barkeep, and Keski, the droid mechanic.
So cool, so cool. And you notice a couple of names which you may not have heard last episode. That's because someone went in, by someone I mean me, actually did homework. Guys, it's a gift. I'm usually really lazy, but I went in and I gave you some names for the NPCs, and so hopefully you guys like them. I mostly went for interesting species that tickle me. I know there was a lot of excitement around the male grumpy drummer of Rook's band, we've decided that is going to be an ortolan, which the ortolans are like the bright blue, kind of fuzzy elephant dude, Max Rebo. So imagine one of those, except with his little sucker fingers, he holds drumsticks and has a holographic drum set that he's just all on top of. So that got me really excited. The idea of an ortolan drummer is, I hope you guys dig it as much as I do. If not, sorry, just gonna have to live with it. I also found a really cool picture. Horst let me help me out with that, as I found 3 or 4 samples. So let me real quickly show you guys the picture we have now for the STS Archmage, thanks to the internet. So I thought this looked pretty Star Warsy. I dig that picture, and that is pretty crazy. Most definitely unattractive looking heavy freighter. That's what you guys are on. So in our previously on, that's where we briefly recap the 2 scenes that we got in our abbreviated pilot. It's like a short that was released on YouTube and Vimeo, to like a teaser, a taster to get everybody excited. We had 4 Wookiees that were being sold at the bazaar inside Mos Eisley, where you guys had landed, and there was breakout as our very feisty Bothan security guard slash kind of second in command of security for the SCS Archmage caused a wild disturbance and broke the 4 Wookiees out. Now, according to like things like Wikipedia and the like, he may have 4 life deaths. We're not sure. I'm just going to go ahead and like kind of front load that as a possible point of discussion that's been happening on the forums for SDS Archmage, the show. So we'll see how that goes. I think 4 life deaths from Wookiees would be pretty cool, but then again, it might be a little overpowering. But there's that. And so the 4 Wookiees still chained together, huddling in an alley. When an ATST, that's the scout troop version of the big ATAT, so it's on the 2 feet, the thing that the Chewbacca piloted for a little bit in Return of the Jedi, comes walking past as you guys are huddled in this heated alleyway. And that's the last thing that we had seen with Isol Maish, the Bothan security guy. And he had done that at the behest of Rook, our Wookiee, who is an entertainer and a member of the band. Is it? Do we have a name for your band? Is it just like Rook's band? Is it like the Rook Experience? What is the name of this lovely entertainment troupe? So I think it's like music, but then they've also got like, you've got a dancer, and so you guys kind of play this like power ballad metal stuff. So do you have an idea? We can always just insert it later as like, post-production if you need some time to think about the band name.
Should we call them the Checkmates?
Oh my gosh, that's good. Checkmates. Oh, Archrook, that's pretty cute too.
Oh, that's good too.
Checkmates or Archrook?
That's a little much. Now I feel like I own them. I don't want that.
You want to stick with Checkmate, or you want to?
I'm cool with that.
Okay, cool. So Checkmate the band, which I adore. That is fantastic. So Checkmate the band, Rook, lead singer. Some Stormtroopers came along and broke up the show a bit, telling you weren't authorized to perform right in front of the Archmage where you guys had landed. Or not the whole Archmage, sorry, that thing stays up in space most of the times. So you guys had landed in Lieutenant Noct, who is the Trandoshan. He had brought you guys down in the cargo transport that ferries smaller because it's a big ass box of a ship, smaller things to and from. So planet side, it's this giant box of a ship that is really not attractive and not made to assault. It barely has a paltry amount of guns and turbo lasers to defend it. So you guys had landed there and tried to set up shop right outside the hangar to play a little bit, not far from the bazaar. Stormtroopers came to break that up, and we saw Rook pushed a little bit, and he caved, right? He had everybody pack up stuff. He didn't want the cool palm trees that you guys have as part of your backup set. You didn't want Anna Nee, the Twi'lek, who's a little fiery and feisty, to get into a fight. You didn't want our newly named Ortolan Pooba Lula to fight anybody over his holographic drum set. So Rook talked everybody into just moving along. And so those were the two scenes that we got in our teaser, our taster of this show. Now, there's a little bit of mechanics that I just want to highlight, and that is the screen presence, just as a reminder. Does anyone have a 1 screen presence in this particular session? I think someone should have a 1 if we shuffled everything around. Someone raising a hand, and I don't hear them talking on mute.
I think it was Alejandro, but I could be mistaken.
I think so too. I think Isol was the Alejandro was the character. So with a 1 screen presence, what that means is for every conflict, you'll get 1 card to start. So from
I have 2 today.
Oh, you have 2. Okay. Yeah. Does Neil Mal have all 1? Okay. So that's interesting. Oh, your 1 is next time. That's right. Okay, cool. All right. So the highlight, and I do know this, Rook has a 3 screen presence. So this is he's the spotlight character. I'm going to try to frame scenes specifically around his issue. And he has a lot more narrative power because he's going to start with 3 cards for every conflict. But I'm going to try to push hard on that particular issue, push you towards your responses, your impulses, and hopefully within this issue or this episode, we can come to some kind of like crux, because it's a really cool moment for you. And I think I have my thrust to how we're going to see about Rook's issue. So can you just remind us, because you are the spotlight character, what is Rook's issue? Oh, and just give us actually a rundown for anybody that didn't want to watch the pilot, because it was like 3 hours and only 2 minutes of game.
Rook is a Wookiee. He was enslaved on Kashyyyk for a while, and the rebellion rescued him, and so he now owes a life debt to the rebellion in writ large, and he is serving as the band is his cover. And as they travel around doing missions for the rebellion. So his issue is guilt, because he is torn between serving the rebellion due to his life debt and all of that, as well as he has discovered that he actually really enjoys being a performer and singing, and that is his life's passion, if you will. So he is torn between these two things, duty and love, and his impulse is actually timidity. So he is most likely to kind of shy away, like we saw in the first episode, from conflict whenever he's threatened. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. So one of the things that in the structure of Primetime episode we'll start with, which is kind of the teaser, is where I, as the producer, which is the name of the GM, get to frame a scene that supposedly kicks off the main plot or the A plot of the particular episode. And what we see is, the Tatooine at the bottom of the screen. And there is a Gamorrean that we saw hints of in the bazaar in the teaser episode, our little taster bit with a few scenes. And that Gamorrean was at the bazaar at the slave market. And that Gamorrean was, if you guys remember of thugs that were making bids, but we didn't get a good, clear picture of who they worked for, because there was this whole thing of Habothan and like Jedi powers and Wookiees running and explosions. So we pick up with that particular Gamorrean walking up to a female Gamorrean who it addresses them, the male Gamorrean, in those grunts and squeals. And we see it calls the female Gamorrean Uliag. And Uliag has this like carapace, this cybernetic carapace from around her chest. And for anyone that's watched the Star Wars Saturdays, this is Oleg was a member of Jabba's Chosen, which was a swoop gang that served Jabba the Hutt. And so Oleg is there, and they talk back and forth, and the subtitles say the Wookiees were taken, and Oleg shakes a meaty fist and says, "We must take them back. Those Wookiees are mine. They are mine by right." And then we have another Wookiee that has a cybernetic hand, a completely cybernetic hand, come in, and this is Yakark. And Yakark in Wookiee bellows and says, "You cannot take my mate." And so they all head off towards their swoops and start to load up. And then we have STS Archmage, and we have the long bit of the Archmage like going over a star field, and that's kind of our intro. And we have these like come up of the pictures, the main characters. Of course, we have the captain, Captain Bondo, who is our capitalist, opportunist, rebel sympathizer, and the actor for Captain Bondo kind of gives like a, he's got the captain look like that. And then we have ship's pilot, Nil Mao. So what's the look, like the couple seconds that we get from the actor for Nil Mao, the ship's pilot, and when he comes on screen in just that brief bit?
Yeah, I think we see Neil in his quarters, stuffing some stuff into his jacket. Then we see him running and getting onto the shuttle, the ship's shuttle that heads down to the planet.
Nice, cool. And then we cut over and still the sweeping Star Wars John Williams style music, and we see Kasky, the droid repair specialist, and she's in a pair of coveralls, and she's got these dreads that are kind of messy and huge. She's got a smudge of grease on her face, of course, because that's the cue that she's a hard worker. And she's like crawling into like something like the Jeffries tubes, but we pan back and we see that she's actually inside a large droid. Then we cut over and we see the ship's cook, who is a Gungan. It's Blib Blib Grass, and Blib Blib is like got his hands, and he's like inside. He's forming up some kind of weird delicacy that's like this weird Jello type deal, and it wiggles and it glistens and the like, and people are looking at it like, what? How did this even work? Then we cut over to Rook. What is the clip of Rook during the show intro?
I think it's like him just like belting it out in the like practice room or something. Like he has like a small, little private quarters.
Nice. I like that. And it kind of pans back, and we see Anani, the Twi'lek dancer, and then we see our Pubalula, the Ortolan male drummer, and we see that you guys are all jamming out. And then we cut over to a scene with the head of security, Jefter Halskip, is the marshal of the ship, a Weequay. And he is walking and giving orders to some of the members of security, and we see IG-78, and there's just a look at kind of a hovering look at IG-78. Then the last thing we see is Isel Maish in our intro, and what is the quick kind of 2 second of Isel Maish when he is shown on screen during our intro?
So you said that we're still in the alley, right?
Sure. Well, I see. This is like the show intro, kind of the thing where it goes through and it shows blah 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 and guest starring so-to-sos.
Yeah. So the Wookiees are kind of
No. Hold on. We're not actually doing a scene. I'm sorry. I was just okay. You wanted to actually have the intro in that. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I've seen that.
The Wookiees are huddled in like behind some crates, and Isel's like standing valiantly over one of the crates, like towering over these Wookiees, looking like it's just this brief moment of like, yeah, I can be a hero. But then as the what's the walker called?
Oh, an ATST.
Yeah, as the ATST is like finishes clearing the scene, the alleyway entryway, he's like all like ducks back down and goes into his like shit kind
Nice.
of attitude.
Oh, that's good. I like that 1-2 punch. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. So I've done my teaser and I did that over long intro, but damn it, it was fun. And now we're going to swing to the person who's got the highest screen presence. So now, Rook, again, your spotlight episode, we've already talked about your issue. The last thing that happened, the next scene that happens doesn't have to be chronologically immediately after that. So where would you like for your next scene to be? And let's also talk, is this going to be a character scene or a plot scene?
Yeah, it makes sense to start with a plot scene.
Cool. Okay. All right, so let's talk about our scene ingredients. Characters, your characters involved. What other characters do you want involved in this scene?
I think that Rook would probably go and check on Isol, and I think that could be a fun scene. So,
okay, cool. So yeah, you stumble upon Isol. You're able to find Isol. Does that mean that the rest of the band is off doing other things, or do you want any of the band members involved? Not required. I'm just trying to make sure we said it.
Right. How much do you think they are involved in the whole rebel business?
Oh, Anani is hardcore. Like, she's a lifer. The rest of the band, up to you. I think it would be neat if it's a mix or mostly not involved, since that's part of what your issue is about.
Okay, so I think I turn to what's his name? Pooba. Pooba, go find us a local cantina since they won't let us perform out in the street like we really want to. Go find us a nice place and set up. Anani and I will be right along.
He says, oh, okay, but IG-78 and can't come. Cantinas here don't serve his kind. Waddles off towards there, and some of the other entertainers follow him. And Anani, she reaches down. Of course, she's skimpily dressed because she's a Twi'lek and she's on Tatooine, but she somehow has a holdout blaster that she shows to you. She's got a little holdout blaster.
You always come prepared.
Of course. I'm surprised that you don't have like some kind of guitar that's really a bowcaster. I mean, you should have that. That would be a good idea.
Oh, that's a fantastic idea. I need to look into that. Maybe I can talk with the mechanic about that.
So you guys travel along, and just through happenstance, because we're framing the scene, you are able to see that last bits of the ATST, and you spot one of the Wookiees. So, of the 4 rookies, now I've got it. It's like we're all going to do this at one point during this episode. Of the 4 Wookiees, you have a personal relationship with one of them. What is that relationship?
I'm not super familiar with Wookiee families, but I think it'd be safe to say that one of them is like a uncle.
Cool.
And we were probably enslaved together on Kashyyyk. So this, if it's cool with you, Rich, this would mean that he's been enslaved twice now. So he was freed on Kashyyyk and now is enslaved again.
I love it. That is, boy, oh, he's oof.
To clarify, the uncle was slaved twice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was freed when Rook was freed, but somehow he's been recaptured.
Yes.
Damn, that sucks.
Poor guy.
Okay, so we are going to name him, and I'll add this to the NPC list. We're going to call him Rorwa. Okay? That is your uncle.
Perfect.
And you see your good buddy, Isol Maish, who is there with him. He's been successful. He saved them. Don't know how.
He is quite capable. I think we have one of those close-ups where Rook has a wave of relief wash over his face as he sees them all there doing fine, not injured or anything. kind of pats on a knee on the shoulder.
Wow, he pulled it off. I really didn't. I mean, sure, of course I knew he was going to pull it off.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we still got to get them off planet. How do you want to play this?
I think we need to make a distraction. We're much quicker than 4 Wookiees chained up along with our compatriot. So maybe we can draw a little bit of attention so that they can get back to the ship.
Okay. You really think Nock's going to take them?
I don't know, but we have to try, don't you think? Can't just leave them here.
Yeah, I mean, I
Unless
love
you
you,
have another
Fuzzball, but I
idea.
don't know if Nock's going to handle 5 of you guys.
We'll find jobs for them on the ship. They'll earn their way.
Okay. All right. So then it sounds like well, do you want to contact ISIL to let him know what's going on? I think that might be a cool next step here.
Yeah, I'm sure we've got super cool.
Oh yeah, you've got the little comm units, right? Which are basically like lipstick cases, you know, if you guys remember those. Except it's got a little screen over the top to indicate piece of technology. So yeah, you want to comm over to ISIL, go for it.
ISIL, look to your 3 o'clock.
Mission accomplished. I followed your orders. I did exactly what was asked. I name them because presumably I have their names at this point. I go, I have acquired, you know, Wookiee 1, Wookiee 2, Wookiee 3, Wookiee 4, and so I'm kind of going off a little bit too much.
ISIL, that's fantastic. I just want to point out that Rorwa is my uncle, and you have done us such a favor. I mean, the other Wookiees are important too, of course, but Rorwa is very dear to me, and we need to get these Wookiees back to the ship.
Absolutely. I make eye contact with Aurora and I give him a salute.
I don't know if you have any plans, but I was thinking, Anani and I were thinking that maybe we could serve as a distraction to allow your group to move back to the ship undetected.
Is there any way that do you have any tools? I presume you don't. That I can get these chains off because they're not moving very fast.
Well, maybe all of our if you get the Wookiees to act together, maybe they could just break the chains, 2 or 3 Wookiees on the cuff at a time, just rip those chains off. I mean, they're Wookiees. Trust me. I think they can do it.
I believe in them. I believe in you.
Nice. Okay, cool. So you're going to try to, it sounds like our conflict here is, are you able, Rook, to help these Wookiees make their way back to the spaceport, to the hangar, without any trouble, right? So it's not going to be just one discrete conflict. This will cover any complications that happen along the way and other things that you could run into. Does that make sense? Sound fair? Cool. And so what you want is to get them back to, we should probably name the cargo ship, right? Because we have the Archmage. Maybe we call it like the Acolyte. Hell, I don't know. That was just a thing that just totally pulled out of my butt. So for now, until someone comes up with a better name, the Acolyte, which is your small, tiny freighter, you got to get back to the Acolyte without any trouble. Now, ISO, you can, because you're involved. Ooh, Acolyte Runner sounds actually like good. Like I could. That's I'm writing it down. Good job. That actually takes a rando thing and makes it pretty palatable. Thank you. So ISO, you're here, and we did have a conversation in GChat between games. So what you can do, and I want to make sure, because this is a thing that doesn't happen a whole lot, but we definitely want to make sure that we are covering it. You guys are all effectively playing against me, right? I'm the producer. I'm the antagonism to what you're trying to do. So I will draw. Each player will draw cards equal to your current screen presence And then if you have any traits that might apply, you can use them for extra cards. And then you can spend fan mail for additional cards. Now, the audience pool is currently empty because I empty it out at the beginning of every session. Any fan mail that we had from our teasers from our pilot remain in your character. So you guys, everybody except for Horse has at least one fan mail. So you feel free to spend that here. And so you guys will all be doing that. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you I've got a gigantic budget and I'm going to go crazy here because I want bad things to happen. I mean, interesting things to happen. I don't have to be a fan of your characters, by the way. That's just a PBTA thing. Yes, my budget is 30, but that has to last me for 3 hours. Darn it. So I'm going to go whole hog, and the max I can spend in any one pull is 5. And so that's it. I'm spending for 5 cards, my friends. 5 cards. That is how much that I'm going to have. If you aren't in a scene, you aren't facing a crisis, you can still influence the outcome for other protagonists by spending fan mail to gain cards. The cards you get can be applied for or against one protagonist in the scene, however you see fit. You have to decide where the cards apply before revealing their result. Revealing, like you can read the results, but before you reveal your result, that's what you have to do. Again, we're in roll 20, so if anybody has problems with like how do we do the cards, just ask, and I'll do a quick screen share. So then let's start with Rook. How many cards do you get, Rook? Get 3, of course, but let's see. Do you have an edge or connection that would help you here?
You mentioned last time that after you use your connection in a session, you have to recharge it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to not use either of them.
Well, just so we're clear, this is a new episode, so it's refreshed again. It's just every episode, every particular episode.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if this is like the moment, you know?
No, I get you. That's totally cool with me.
Okay, cool.
I just want to make sure that you weren't like hampering yourself when the mechanics don't need you to do that. But yeah, if you choose not to use that, that's fine. So you're going to start with 3. Do you want to spend any fan mail for this?
Yeah, I'm going to spend 1.
All right, so that's 4 cards. I almost said dice. I don't know why I would say dice. 4 cards that are coming to you. Isol, do you want in on this?
Yes, I do. I want to support my friend Rook in supporting my salvation with my new comrades.
All right. So you've got 2 cards to start. Are you spending any fan mail? Not required. Just want to ask.
So how much fan mail? I have 1 fan mail. We each have 1 fan mail, right? Yeah.
Yep. All 5 of the cards that I have right now, after I've spent them, they become 5 in the audience pool that can be distributed out as fan mail to everybody.
Okay. No, I'm not going to spend any right now. So
okay, cool. I have dealt those 2 cards to you, and now I'm going to deal 5 lovely cards to myself. Anybody outside of the scene, Pavel or Horst, do either of you? Well, unfortunately, Horst, you don't have any fan mail yet. Pavel, do you want to spend?
Can we spend fan mail like against the protagonist? Can I like give you an extra card?
Yes, you can give me an extra card if you so wish.
So I will do so. I will spend 1 fan mail, and maybe like as they are moving through, we see like some kind of like an Imperial officer receiving a report. Sir STS Archmage is on the orbit. You know whose crew is it? And he like, okay, look for this and this person.
That is awesome. All right.
Wait, now, hold on. I'm sorry. I do want to spend my fan mail. You do? It didn't click how it worked for a second.
Okay, cool. We're early on. We're early on. I'll happily deal that to you, Alejandro.
Yeah.
Now you're up to 3 total cards. All right. Now, the one thing is, if you look at your cards, the last card that you got Rook and the last card that you got Isol, those were your fan mail cards. And that's important to know because if they're red, I'll just ask you, if they're red, then they circle back to me to come back into my budget. If they're not, then it just are spent, and that's no big deal. So Rook, did your 4th card, is that red?
Yes.
Okay. And then Isol, is your 3rd card red?
No.
Okay, cool. So we are back to 26 on budget. Now let's do some fun reveals. And so what we have is you guys kind of sneaking through the ATS. He turns and heads down. You're trying to time it perfectly. There's like Stormtrooper squad that's going on. And I am going to look. I haven't even looked at my cards. I'm all excited. Here we go. Ooh, oh no, I don't want to do that. Crap. Sorry. I'm trying to move a bunch of things at once. Here we go. Oh my God, guys, you guys. Unfortunately, I don't know how to remove jokers from this deck, so I need to deal myself one more card. Cool. And if anybody ever runs into a joker, just say so, and I'll deal you a new card. Here's we go. Here how we go. If you guys remember the how does the scene go in the upper right-hand corner of our little map, I'll just do a little bloop highlight. Is do you have more red cards than the producer? I'm sorry, my friends. I have a ton of red cards. So here's where we go. I've got Friedman Wheat, friends. I think things are not going to go terribly well. The Joker doesn't count, and it doesn't count as red, but I'll just go ahead and get that.
I give you this cool card so that you probably also have the highest.
What'd you give me? Oh,
Ace.
my goodness, an ace. All right. So, yeah, what you could do is drag out of your thing on top of your name or just somewhere we can differentiate who's got what. The 5, 7, 10, and 6, is that yours, Rook?
Yes.
Cool. Let me move it over towards you. Go up. Ugh. All right. And then we've got a 9, 3, and a 2. Whose 6 is that?
That's my 6. I just moved it so I could see behind it.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. All right. So, my friends, you do not have, so we'll now walk through. Do you have more red cards than the producer? No. Is your highest card higher than the producer? No. So the result there through the flow chart is no and. So this was a plot scene. So if you go to the left-hand side on no and. On a plot scene, no, you don't get what you want, which is you wanted to get to the Acolyte runner without any Imperial complications. I think that was it. I can't remember the phrase from Star Wars. Damn it.
Entanglements.
And your impulse is provoked. Okay. So you guys are running across, making your way through the dusty sun, the twin suns of Tatooine. When you guys get to the last bit where the hangar is, and remember we described the hangars as these kind of round, almost small stadium looking things that the ship would just land in from above, so it's exposed to the sun. But there are kind of doors to head in and out, and you see that there is a squad of stormtroopers who are standing patrol, and you see Lieutenant Noct is having a heated conversation with these stormtroopers. And it does not look like you guys are going to get back to that ship without any kind of incidents. I'm going to say that you're effectively like underneath an awning in the shade. Got 5 Wookiees, a Twi'lek, and a Bothan, all kind of hanging back there as you guys are looking forward. And then you hear the sounds of swoop bikes in the distance. And that is a crisis point, which we will cut away from. So we cut onto the ship, and we see Nil Mao. And so Nil Mao, I want you to go ahead. This is your scene. Do you want a character scene or a plot scene?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really hard. It's really hard to choose. Yeah, I think it would be cool to include the 2 characters which we have not yet seen. Although I'm not sure if this is on the ship, like IG-78. Would you go down to the planet, or are you staying on the ship as well?
I think I'm on the ship.
Awesome. Well, that makes it easy to frame you guys two guys together.
Okay. Okay.
And when I say
so-
guy, IG78 goes by the they pronoun. I heard you saying that in the introduction. Is that right, Horst? Horst?
The roboting out. Can you hear me, guys? No?
Now, yes. At this moment, yes.
Oh, this is not good.
And now we can't.
Still having trouble, Horst?
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, that sucks. All right. Let's give him one moment because I'd really love if Horst can work through that connection issue. We're 43 minutes in. Do you guys want to take just a quick bio to give Horst a moment or two to check his system? You guys cool with that? All right.
Yeah.
So we're 43 after. Let's just take 5 minutes.
Commercial break. Commercial break.
Exactly.
We see the small boys come in, and there's the cut to commercial.
Exactly. Cool. See you guys in 5. Hey, Horst. I just gave them a 5-minute break so you could work through stuff. Does it sound any better?
It seems to work now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good.
About the pronouns, I think it would be really funny if IG78 was, as a killer, the basic assumption is male, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
And so, because they want to break from their past, and the first character or the first person that approached them like respectfully as a, I don't know, is female. I think I want the pronoun to be female.
That's neat. I dig that. And it's fun, and it's a nice way to kind of use gender stereotypes to your advantage. So dig it.
I think there's a science fiction not Annihilation. What is it? By Anne. What's her name? Nevitz or something. About a droid, and it's the exact same story. So it's not that I'm super creative. I just stole it from.
I haven't had an original thought in decades, so don't worry.
I wouldn't go that far, but I have. Yeah.
Cool. So I gave them a quick break. I want to take a quick bio break. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Perfect.
Whoa.
Hello. Did you see the I released the first episode, whatever, of Gauntlet Comics last night?
Oh no, I didn't. I saw it. I haven't been able to listen to it yet.
Super geeky. It's as geeky as it gets. It's so bad. I love it.
So what is it? It's a commercial. What is it again? Like, what's its intention?
So the intention for Gauntlet Comics is that, and this also is kind of a problem in Star Wars Saturdays. So Gauntlet Comics, we launched it, and it's 3 GMs, and it's a shared world of set in a Super's city, New Gauntlet City. And so I came up with the idea, well, Anchor podcasts are free, so it doesn't really cost me anything other than time. So Gauntlet Comics, the podcast, is a companion to the sessions that we're playing, so that people can listen along and hear the events of the games, the major characters introduced, the plots, and that kind of thing. And it's done like it's a newscast that's happening in New Gauntlet City. So it's like a nerdery eating nerdery. And because it's 3 different GMs, I've kind of volunteered to be the primary voice of the newscaster. And so Lowell fed me not only like the recap of sessions, but he seeded in other events, like other reports that he's going to be bringing into future game sessions, I think, which is crazy. And then Jim, because his My Life with Mastermind game was nothing but character creation, he did like a teaser, like a 1.5-minute teaser for the serialized podcast or story series that will be happening during the newscast. It's crazy. I was really impressed. And my son, who's 13, got really super excited when I asked him to be a man on the street interview. And so there's like a person, a citizen of New Gauntlet City, talking about one of the events that happened in one of the Masks games. So it's goofy, and it's only 10 minutes long. So I had a hell of a lot of fun doing it.
So will it be like when you post a game, it will be like just stuck in the middle of the game type thing? So it's like a commercial break in the middle of the game?
Oh God, no. It's just a podcast that anybody can listen to.
I would love for you to do that.
That's an interesting. Okay, we'll continue to play with the forum. Like, it's a thing that 3 GMs are doing all at once, so I'm sure we'll be doing really weird stuff with it. So that was fun. All right, let's swing back in. We were framing up a scene on the Archmage. It is Neil Mal's scene, but you were talking about trying to frame in IG-78 and found out that IG-78 is on the ship. Now, one quick thing that conversation that Horst and I had where you guys stepped away, IG-78 as an assassin used the male pronoun, right? Aggression, male. And now that IG-78 is trying to work away from that, now it's dealing with that issue, IG-88 prefers the she pronoun. Which is pretty neat. Cool. So, Neil Mal, let's circle back to you. Is this a character scene or a plot scene?
I think it's a character scene.
Okay, I like it. Cool. So you have a screen presence of 2. It's totally cool that you may be able to get some stuff done. Your issue is doubting if the Empire is really evil, or if it's really the fault of the rebel scum and the Empire is justified in what they do. So you sit at the crux between, yes, I'm doing jobs for the rebels, but is this really the right thing that I'm doing?
He is an Imperial spy undercover. Just let's remind it to everyone. He's an Imperial spy undercover, a very good undercover. And he's going through a change of heart. That's why he has doubts, because he's seen some things that... yeah, so I think it would be cool to have like a character scene. So how do we call the ship's bar? Is it just like Modos, or do we like give it a different name? Does it have its own name? Because Modo is the bartender. Do we just like call it Modos?
It's probably got its own name, but I kind of like the idea of calling it Modos. Anybody have any better suggestions? All right, so Modo is the bartender. Modo is a Kaminoan. In case you don't remember what a Kaminoan is, those are the super tall, thin alien species that were featured in the prequels. They're the ones that create all the clones. And I love their look. They're super CG, but what are you going to do? So Modo is a gender unknown Kaminoan who works at the ship's bar selling intoxicants to the crew, trying to keep them happy. And, of course, making more money for Bondo.
Yeah, so I think me and IG-78 are there. Of course, Modo is there. Yeah, I'm not sure Who else? Maybe we need someone who represents the chief gunnery. Or the captain. Yeah, maybe the captain is there. Yeah, let's have the captain. Captain
Awesome.
Bondo.
Yay, we get to have Captain Bondo in. So we've got Captain Bondo. Is Bondo sitting with you, or he just happens to be in the bar at the time?
I think the bar is pretty empty. So he's sitting, at the bar, one chair away from us, and can probably like join in on the conversation whenever he wants. Because probably we are some of the last people who didn't went down to the planet yet. And what is the scene about? I think this is we'll see like Neil like talking with others and trying to like see the rebellion side of like, is it worth to being in the rebellion and so on.
Neat. Just get right to the heart of it. I love it.
Yeah. Time is short. Viewers want to see people's opinions,
so we hear some like Biff electronic jazz playing in the background, and Moto with their long thin fingers are digging into a flute of a glass and cleaning it out as you guys sit nearby at your table. So IG-78, what do you do when you're at a bar?
I think that she is actually pretty often in the bar. Obviously not drinking because, except maybe, I don't know, machine oil, the old joke. No, not drinking machine oil. She's actually, always having an eye on Modo and how they interact with the customers, because a bar is a place where people are human, where they're going to, I don't know, let off steam and just enjoy themselves. And because the whole concept of enjoying yourself is pretty alien to IG-78, and interacting with humans is also awkward. She most of the time stands there and eyes people, which could be a bit intimidating because she has these spider eyes that look in all directions, red glowing. Another fun fact, in the Tatooine bar scene, the head of IG-88 was used as lamps. So it would be a cool first shot if there's like lamps hanging over the bar. And then the next shot is the exact same thing, which is IG-78's head and the red lights blinking while she watches Modo interacting with the three guests that are there.
That's crazy. I love that. That is really neat.
IG, you are creeping me out while you are staring at us from the corner. Come on, join us at the bar.
And IG creepily approaches Neil Mao, standing much too close. Is that better?
Yeah, it's really cool. So Neil just like turns, like takes a sip from his blue martini, blue spacey. And he says, "So, do you regret ever like quitting the service of the Empire?"
Regret. I don't know what this is, but life was easier. It was to kill or not to kill. And now I don't know.
Yeah, so what do you think it's so how is life better for you now that you are here with us?
Now I can be myself. I mean, are you just programmed to do what you're doing, or are you doing what you want to do?
We are not programmed, but we do what we want to do. It's like, I want to fly the ships. Captain, what is that you want? Because you're doing this a lot.
What anyone would want. Retire to a nice farm on some peaceful planet. rolling in credits.
I heard that there are some oh my god, what was this like Luke's Uncle Job, water farmer?
Oh, moisture farmer, yeah.
Moisture. Yeah. Down on the planet you have like all the moisture farmers.
Tatooine? Oh, son, no. Someplace like Naboo, maybe. Tatooine, 2 suns, desert planet. No. Naboo. Now, a nice little plot in Naboo. A farm. That sounds good to me. What about you, Nilmao? You and Ani, maybe? The 2 of you?
Yeah, but definitely not like the farm. You know, some kind of like a speeder. We need some fast ship, some couple of speeders or some. You know, they are doing this here. That the pod racing. Man, I'd love to take part in this pod racing here in Tatooine. I've heard it's the best in the known world. Like at least before the Jabba got taken out. He was taking care of it. Now it's like probably will not happen so often, but yeah, you know, the thrill, the speed. But then maybe something closer to the core would be better. And he just like captures himself, like not to say any more about the core words, but yeah, well.
Cool. And then Jeffter Halskip, who is the marshal of the ship, the security chief, the Weequay, he comes up and leans down and he comes up behind Bondo and leans down and says, "Captain, sorry to bother you, but Lieutenant Noct is communicating from the planet. He says Mos Eisley security has impounded the Acolyte runner." Captain says, "They obviously didn't get enough fees from us. Go ahead and set Nonomatu on that." And he tells him to get Nonomatu Vib, the Tordarian fixer, and try to go and negotiate that problem. He looks over and says, "Nilmal, when you finish up, do you mind flying the Tordarian down to the handling this negotiation?"
Yes, of course, Captain.
And there's a moment where that seems like that's all of it, but then Jeffter looks over to you, IG-78, and says, "Captain, we should send her along, just in case. You're head of security. Do your job. My job right now is to finish this drink." Cool. So,
and I think IG-78 is completely unaware of the discussion that happened in the last 5 minutes. She's still in her program versus free will thought, and she says to Nilmao, "But there's also nurture and nature. Isn't it the same thing?"
Yeah, like what do you mean about nurture and nature?
I mean, like, do you like fast pod races? Why is that?
It's the thrill of the emotions. Like you are feeling that you are living on the edge. That one mistake and you will crash on this huge stone. Your life will end, but you are avoiding this with the last second.
But that's just your genetic program because you like the adrenaline. There's nothing you in this. It's your program, man.
If it was a program, then all of us would be like it. But just like your series, like every one of you is like the same, like go and kill stuff. But humans are different. Like everyone likes different things. I like pod racing. Captains like to make trade. They probably you wouldn't like to pod race. Everyone has a different programming. Just like Rebels and the Empire, we are just going to kill each other.
So IG interrupts you, and she says, "I don't like killing puts your glass and crushes it in her hands.
Geez, IG, you're freaking me out. Like, so.
Modo, if you could mark that on IG-78's credit record. It's Captain Bando now is charging you for the destruction of that glass.
Well, it was nice talking to you, Nil Mao, but I have to kill people apparently. And she storms off.
Ouch. Yeah, and I had to fly you down. Hopefully, you will not kill anyone on the transport.
Cool. So let's. So that was
good.
That was a good scene, but we didn't actually lead to. Well, we didn't throw cards. It felt like we headed towards a conflict there, but I didn't step in to see if there was. I wasn't sure if there was a conflict that regarded mechanics that was really interesting. I think we're going to go ahead and just leave that as a non-mechanical scene. If you guys are okay with that, like a setup for future.
Mm-hmm.
So two of you guys get up and you're heading out of Motos towards something that isn't like the Acolytes. So when we see you get onto the ship that's going to take you down to the surface, of course, the Tordarian, Vib is flying to catch up to you. Remember, the Tordarians are the short, little, squat, tiny cherub wing. You can't talk like this, and they have these large schnozzes. So the Tordarian is your fixer, the salesman that handles things. He will meet you guys. But what does this ship look like? Neil, now, since you're a pilot, we'll let you tell us what this little shuttle looks like.
I think, yeah, let's go with the only one I know. It's like, the kind of like the Imperial has this like shuttles that have like three.
Oh yeah, I love these things.
3 wings, and 2 of them like go slightly on the bottom, so when you land they like all go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like this kind of image for the shuttle, because this one, because I assume that someone already took the cargo holder down, so this one is like more for the crew.
Yep. I think that's great. I am 100% on board with that idea. So yeah, you're on a same manufacturer, but on actual Imperial shuttle, right? Because you guys aren't Imperial, but maybe you've got an aftermarket, few generations old, but it definitely has that presence. You guys will be coming into the scene. So we cut away from the 2 of you guys, you guy and your girl, and we come back with the sound of swoop blaster fire, which is much deeper than the sound of blaster gunfire. And the swoop blaster fire of a couple of those swoops, Yakark as well as Ulyag and a few others, as they swing past you guys, firing and trying to drive you out. Yes, I do need a soundboard. That is a great idea. I've actually looked for iPhone soundboards, but none of them are to my liking because they're mostly Yoda making cool sounds, but not helpful for people who need soundboard. So, and there's a huge explosion, and several cabbages are thrown everywhere, and we hear someone in the background screaming about their cabbages. And so that is what happens. This is like the GM scene. So you guys are kind of caught at this point. You're nailed down up across from where the stormtroopers are. The stormtroopers have now blocked your ability to get to the shuttle, but you can't just hide out because it looks like this swoop gang has found you. And Rook, you hear the different Wookiees that are here, and of course we see the subtitles. The female Wookiee, Barua, she screams out, it's Yakark! I'm never going back to him.
So just from a mechanical standpoint, we're still reacting to the results of our...
Right, but I'm setting up a new scene. Like, this is a producer scene, so I'm framing up a plot scene, And that is what I've set forth. Is now you guys are in a bit of trouble. It's going to be tough to stand and fight. You have a blaster and whatever Isol is carrying. I assume he's got a blaster or two, maybe a laser sword. We'll see. So you've got a couple of blasters. It seems like Rook doesn't have a blaster because of the previous conversation, and a bunch of Wookiees. You're near a bazaar, so there might be things that could throw at people, but is definitely you're in rough straits. And so I've framed this plot scene of how are you going to get out of this? You've got a swoop gang coming after you. They're trying to either capture you or funnel you towards the stormtroopers for you to get in more trouble. So Rook and Isol, what do you do?
And just should we be framing this with the fact that we're driven by our impulses because of the failure last scene? Or not failure, but
the impulse should definitely be a flavor or an impact.
That's
Yes,
what I was thinking.
absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. That makes a lot of sense to make sure that we have that in mind.
And I do think Rook has his Wookiee bandolier as part of his costume. But
Hell
some
yeah.
of those bandoliers actually do have like grenades on them.
Love it.
So
That's a
all
great
he's
thing
got.
to have on stage. I will remember that.
So Rook is kind of just like, no, 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 not again, no, no, just like freaking out, looking around. Absolutely does not know what to do. Turns to the female Wookiee and says, we'll figure out a way. We'll figure out a way. You're not going back to him. No one's going back to slavery. Turns to Isol. What are we gonna do? Kind of grabs him by the shoulders.
So I'm just throwing this out there. Isol is a Bothan. Bothans are shorter than the average. I think that Isol's actually part of into his personal conflict is emotional. He's even short for a Bothan. So for you to grab his shoulders, like you really got to squat. So he's like, well, what if we? Okay, so I'm sorry. So you've got the hangar right here, and I picture that there's like a big opening for cargo. There's probably like some sort of access doorways somewhere around there.
Yep.
And so then the stormtroopers are here. And then there's the gang that's over here, and we're somewhere in between them.
Yeah. I've got a map of Mos Eisley that we could just do some pointer work to, if that will help people kind of all be on the same page. So let me do that real quick, just so we feel a little more comfortable. I'm going to screen share, and I'll do the little pointy clicky thing. All right. So the way I'm seeing it is that the main bazaar is near this particular street, and you guys are effectively parked here.
Uh-huh.
And so over here by this area is where you guys were headed, hanging out. The entrance where all the stormtroopers are is right there. And the swoops all came down this area and kind of zipped in this way and fired upon you guys. So you're kind of hang out here in these little doorways. Hopefully that makes sense.
Okay.
And over here is where the stormtroopers are. Of course, they're alerted to this because swoops are firing. So they're bringing up their blaster carbines and are going to check out what's going on. But the swoops are going to zip on by. Does that help everybody get on the same page? All right.
So where the stormtroopers are, there's like a large access, right?
Absolutely.
To the right of that, to the what, like 3 o'clock? I don't know what that, or the 2 o'clock right there.
There?
No, on the wheel of the actual,
you can actually go on to, like, if you go into Roll20 and you hover and click and hold down your mouse, you can cause this little loop thing. It'll be in a different color. So do you want to just actually indicate it for me?
I'm blooping.
I don't see it.
Do I have to click anything on this panel over here?
Just like select the arrow and then just hold your mouse somewhere.
Yeah. Hold the. There we go. Bam. There we are. Okay, I just saw you explode up here. This
It
little
was
ship
mine,
over
actually.
here.
No.
It was mine.
Oh, well, crap. I got excited. There we are. All right.
The red one.
Awesome.
Okay. You see that?
Synthetic.
So there's like a little, I would imagine, smaller axis.
Okay.
Where there
Yeah,
aren't
I'll buy that.
stormtroopers.
That makes sense.
Or maybe fewer stormtroopers over there. All right, so Rook, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna take the Rooks down to this access point right here, that's blooping right now. And what's your your friend, the rebel soldier, or the Twi'lek that you're with? What's her name again?
On a knee.
Anani. And then Anani and I will go to where the other stormtroopers are, and we'll where the larger group of stormtroopers are, and we'll create a diversion, so that you can get these Wookiees onto the ship.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. This is great plan. I think it's going to work out great. You've already proven yourself to be super capable. On a knee, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, sure. It's better than just sitting here. Let's go.
So Anani and I are gonna creep this way, and then as soon as we create the diversion, Rook, you're gonna go that way. So like as I start like creeping this way, my impulse is impulsivity, and I just start running and start shooting at the stormtroopers, like bah, 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 bah. Like
This is great.
like totally like my plan was probably like a genius plan, but my execution of it was like totally like counter the plan. That's what I envisioned.
That is lovely. Cool. So, by the way, I'm just doing a real quick bit of update. I added the one fan mail to IG78. I went ahead and updated that, and then Rook, I think you should have 2 now. So there's a fan mail from Neil Mao, which would take us down to the audience pool of 3 because those were handed out. Good. So,
I would like to give fan mail to, I forgot what your name is, Neil Mao, because I really did dig the situation that you were setting up. So
good.
Go ahead.
No, that's great. I appreciate that. I want to make sure we're hitting those mechanics. So thanks, guys. I know sometimes it can get a little clunky as I'm interrupting a scene to talk about mechanics, but it's worth it. All right. As you were heading off, just seconds before that draws a lot of focus, your uncle, Rook, Rawa, he grabs you by like this part of your fur. I think if I remember correctly, he had a couple of cool braids. And he looks at you and he growls, "Never again. If they're going to capture me, I need you to kill me. Never again. Promise me, nephew."
Uncle, it's not gonna come to that. We're gonna make it out of here.
Promise me.
No, we're gonna make it out of here. I will not make that promise.
Ooh, that is wicked. All right, cool. So I think we are at a conflict that ISIL has caused. And so again, the question is, are you guys going to force your way in and get the heck out of Dodge? I'm going to spend 4. So I'm spending 4. That's going to up our audience pool to 6. And I'm spending for 4 cards.
Rich, remember that you get 1 card plus what you buy.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Thank you. So I get 5 cards anyway. Screw you guys. Sweet. So you are getting by default ISIL 2 cards. Do you think you have any edges or connections that are coming into play here?
My character.
You got Anani with you. Oh, it's Nilmal. Sorry, that doesn't help you, Isel.
I have a connection with the cargo loader pilot.
He's there. He's definitely like, you start doing this. He's a crazy Trandoshan, so he'll probably back your play if you want to.
Yeah,
that connection.
Yeah, so I'll use that connection.
Rebel Soldier works too, I think.
Yeah, I'll use that. I wonder if untrained Force user would work. Just
it could, but you're going to need to bring it to bear if you're.
Yeah. Well, I imagine it occurring as a result of it, because it's untrained. It's more like an emotion, like it. So yeah, I will.
Awesome. It's what I need to hear.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cards coming your way then, my friend. That is a total of you're basically bringing everything. It's all coming in. So you're using up all of your edges and connections, which means you're going to need to refresh it with a personal set scene to be able to use it again. But that's 5 cards for you.
Yeah.
Spending any fan mail?
No, I don't even think I have any right now, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, go ahead.
5 cards to you. Rook, what are you trying to get out of this scene?
I am trying to protect the 4 Wookiees, I think. Like,
awesome.
Get them across the open street and into the next part of cover.
All right, I've got my 5 cards. You've got 3 starting off. Are you using any edges or connections here?
I'm going to use Wookiee, since all of us are Wookiees. We can work together. And then I'm going to use both of my fan mail.
Ooh, nice. That gives you 6 cards. Remember that the last 2 cards that I deal to you are the ones that could come back to my budget.
Okay.
All right, so take a look just before I forget, because you know how forgetful I can be. Are those last 2 cards, either of them red?
One of them.
One of them is red. All right, so my budget goes back up to a 23. All right, my friends.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
You said the last 2 cards?
Because he spent 2 fan mail. His last 2 cards.
Oh, his last
fan mail cards. Right. You're not sending any fan mail, so all yours are good. You got them. So Nilmal, IG78, do either of you want to spend a fan mail to throw in here? Okay, cool. I am taking a look at my cards. Wait, I'm looking at my own cards instead of looking at someone else's. Oh, this is not good for me. I literally have no red cards. But I'm queen high.
Do we show ours?
Yep. I'm sorry, I was not clear. Please show your cards. Oh, is that an ace?
Yeah.
8 of hearts? That is gorgeous.
Not only that, it's an
ace of clubs too. All right. So do you have more red cards than the producer? Both of you have more red cards than the producer. Is your highest card higher than the producer's? So we're going to go with yes for Isel, because wow. So you get a yes and. I framed this as a plot scene, so keep that in mind. And your highest card is not higher than the producer's Rook, so you've got a yes but. So for plot, yes and. Yes, you get what you want, and you keep it together. So somehow, Isel, you keep it together. But the plot for Rook is you get what you want, which is to keep the Wookiee safe. But your impulse is provoked yet again. Now, remember, your impulse can be provoked, but this could be a moment where you make a change, right? The impulse is in play. The impulse is provoked, but If this is a thing where it's a crisis moment and you as a player want to change it, that's cool. If not, then we work it into the narration. Isol takes off with on a knee behind. Your Trandoshan buddy, Lieutenant Noct, grabs a couple of stormtroopers, slams their heads together, and starts going for his blaster that's been over his shoulder. And Isol's firing. What does this look like for Isol? As you get what you want, and you keep it together.
Yeah. So the scene goes from Rook's uncle having this moment with Rook to Isol like running out like from beside, like from kind of behind him, and just I have 2 blasters apparently, and I'm doing boop, boop, and every shot is just like hitting. So this is my 4th, is like the perfect kill shot, and the troopers are the stormtroopers are just like kind of befuddled. Like, we're not expecting this like child size killing machine running out. What is your uncle's name? What is it again? It's Rorwa. Oh yeah. So Rorwa sees this and actually like just breaks out of his chains and runs alongside Isol and just starts grabbing like stormtroopers and like smashing them together and using stormtroopers as bludgeons against other stormtroopers. And the swoop game comes by and is doing another swoop, and Rorwa's like just beating the swoop gang back, like knocking them off, and like Isol, Isol like almost like kind of like runs up, so Rorwa's like this, and Isol like kind of runs up his back and like standing on his shoulder and just like doing this like that, and as we're doing that, like the whole force of stormtroopers are like just descending. The stormtroopers and the swoop gangs like descending on us, and we're just this mass killing machine. With like, so you have like Rora like standing kind of like in this kind of leaning position, bludgeoning with stormtrooper bludgeons, and Isol standing on his shoulder, and then what's her name again?
On a knee.
On a knee is like at her back, just shooting like backwards, as Rook leads the other 3, you know, in that other direction.
So we cut to Rook, who gets what he wants, but the impulse is in play. So what does that look like for Rook?
So I think we, using their distraction, Rook like pushes the other Wookiees forward, and we're all just like charging across the sandy street here. And he starts to pull pieces off his bandolier and like put together this thermal detonator essentially. And he's like all got it, and he's like yelling them forward, run, you can make it, it's right there. The swoop gang comes by and starts firing on them, but you know, no hits land. It's all just like gravy until they get up right to the little entrance to the hangar, and the other 3 get in, and he turns around and like goes to throw his thermal detonator, but these like blaster shots from the swoop game keep coming in all around him and just throwing up sand, and he's looking at the thermal detonator, and his hand is like shaking from trying to figure out what to do, and he breaks down and turns and just runs and never throws the grenade.
Ouch. Oh man, that's good. All of you guys huddle in as Noct is running. You see the gangway dropping, like the little. I always have problems with this word. It's like on a knee for me. It's like the thing that comes down from a ship that you run up into. What is that called? Anyone?
It's gangway today.
It's gangway today. Thank you. So the gangway starts to lower down as the acolyte runner starts spinning up, and you guys are heading in. Blaster fire. One of the swoops crashes, and Yakark is coming in screaming. He's screaming for his mate, and she's ducking down, trying to get her way through. And maybe there's a point where she holds out her chains, and Anani fires in between the two, and she's free, and you guys are all getting onto the ship, and the acolyte runner is going to take off, and we see the ATST is starting to walk through the streets, and now it's aiming up, and there's a quick over to the spaceport, the Mos Eisley spaceport command control, where there's a couple of Imperials there, and we have reports, sir, of problems at Hangar Bay 52. But get the ATST over there and take care of it. Fire that thing, knock it out of the sky. And so the acolyte runner starts to take off, and the swoop gangs, right? We've seen it in those who saw Solo, which is way better than you've heard. Still not great, but way better than you heard. Taking off into the sky after you. And we will cut away to our Nil Mao and IG-78. So I'll let you guys frame this scene. I think IG-78 should frame it this time. What would you like? Again, this could be a flashback. This could be anything that you want.
Yeah, I would.
Are we cautiously going? Are we transitioning from Act 1 to Act 2? Where are we positioning ourselves? Because it seems like the thing is almost solved over here.
Yeah, I would like to have a character scene with for IG-78, and I actually would like to have one with our Starlight. Is it called Star? What's it called?
Spotlight.
The
Spotlight
character. And by the way, Rook gets one fan mail from me.
Yay!
Because I love the fact that he didn't throw the grenade. Can you guys see me? Am I frozen?
I can see you.
Cool. So the scene is what's the set? The set for Rook is the stage, or like the rehearsal place, isn't it?
Yep.
And so what are you, Joshua? What is Rook? Rehearsing at the moment.
So Rook does Wookiee covers of all of the most popular hit songs at the time. Most of it is like 80s rock, our equivalent of 80s rock type stuff. So Rook does a little bit of dancing, but mostly it's just the vocal performance, and then he lets the rest of the band do the dancing and the instruments.
Yeah, so I would love a scene where you're playing like you're singing maybe not your typical hard rock song, but rather like maybe a love song or something very soft with just a guitar, an acoustic guitar. And so, Rook, can you describe your set a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So we have these iconic palm
trees. That's what I remember. Yeah.
There's 4 of them, and they're always laid out very artistically. And we have some like hollow curtains that project scenes that fit with whatever I'm singing about. So this is probably like a romantic balcony with the moonlight, 3 or 4 moons, let's say, why not, shining down on us. Maybe like a kind of Naboo style architecture. And then I'm just singing to that.
Mm-hmm. And maybe it's the end of the song. IG-78 is sitting in the empty, where the audience would be, and it's dark. There's just one. It's a spotlight character. There's just this one spotlight on Rook, and when you're finished, IG-78 stands up and claps metallic hands against each other. That was awesome.
So Rook nods and kind of sets the microphone down. Says, "I'll be back in a minute. Let's take a break, everybody," which is just the one guitarist at this point. And he walks off the stage and goes to talk with IG-78. Thanks for sticking around. We didn't have a huge audience, but we appreciate you.
I really felt the song here, and she points at her left shoulder. This is where I felt it.
Oh, that's amazing. Forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn, but I believe you're really working on yourself, and to hear you say that I was able to move you in that way, that really means a lot.
Well, I'm trying to find out what is art. Why do you sing? Sometimes it feels as if you are in pain.
Well, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't say that I'm always in pain when I'm singing. I would say that a lot of times when I'm done singing, the pain is less. And I think if I really think about it, I've never really gone there before myself, but you've just made me realize that maybe that's why I sing. To work through these feelings of pain that I have. That's interesting. And Rook kind of like looks up and thinks about it.
So, but then why do you fight?
And Rook's face kind of falls from this, elated revelation to kind of a more stern grimace. And Rook says, "I fight because I have to."
But leave it to me. I mean, and she holds up her hands that have these integrated guns. Like, I cannot produce art. I cannot sing. I can only do what I do best, which is killing. Leave the killing to me and just, do what you do best.
Ooh, that sounds like a conflict. That sounds like a really juicy conflict that really centers on your issue. We got to see how that goes. So let's do that. I am spending budget primarily because I want cards to trigger your issue and make you stay a coward. Right. So I am going to spend 3, which means the audience pool will go up to 8. Look at all that audience pool fan mail you guys can be handing out, my friends. Oh my goodness, so much. So Rook, your spotlight, you start with 3. Are there any edges or connections you'd like to bring into it? And what are you hoping to do here? Like, what do you want out of this scene? Do you want to hold fast and not allow IG-78 to tell you not to fight?
To chicken out.
So in my mind, I actually think that chickening out is fighting, because Rook wants to be a performer full time. Like, that's his love, his passion. So I think giving into the life debt for the rebellion is kind of what he feels obligated to do, but really doesn't want to do.
Interesting. Okay, cool. That's a nice inversion. That makes sense as you phrase it that way.
So I think what I want to accomplish with this, or what I'm trying to accomplish with this, is to feel better about performing being Rook's like true passion, and also to kind of convince IG-78 that she can also do more than just kill people.
Yeah, I love that, because otherwise I think our goals would be the same. So I think IG78's goal would be to persuade Rook to focus on his art. But if it's framed like IG78 IG78 can also be not a killer, then we have a real conflict.
Yeah, I dig it. Cool. So, do you want to? Are there things that you're bringing in to give you more cards here, Rook?
I am going to use that fan mail I got, and I am going to call on my performer edge.
Good. And that means that's another edge that actually you're. Look at you, IG78. You got a refresh on all this stuff. So nice. Don't forget that refresh. So that gives you 5 total cards. I'm dealing them now. And the last of those 5 cards is the one that we'll consider the fan mail. So that 5th card, if it's red, please let me know.
Dang it, it is.
My budget goes up again. Oh, delicious, delicious red cards. But the reds do benefit you. All right. So now IG78, you have a default screen presence of 2. Are you using any edges or connections?
Let's see. No.
Okay. So default to 2. You want to spend any fan mail?
I'm using both my fan mails.
Ooh, look at you. All right. All right, my friends. I am going to take a look at my cards. I've got to deal myself one more card because, yet again, I got another Joker. I promise you. Boom. All right. Wow. Okay, I have one good card, my friends. One good card.
Do you only shuffle when you run out?
Yes. And I'm getting ready to shuffle, so.
So we could all be counting cards here, is what you're telling me?
You could be counting cards. You could
Awesome.
certainly be cards. I'll drop that Joker over there because it doesn't matter. Next level play, counting cards, my friends. I got 1 red queen. Let's reveal some cards. Oh, wow. I get nothing. Who is that? Is that?
That's me, Rook.
Look at you.
I know, this is the perfect time for that ace. I like it.
It is so perfect. And then what about IG78? So do you know how to, like, you just grab that and you can pull it with your mouth? There you go. You're doing it great. Okay. Just making sure. I had to learn how this works. So I want to make sure. Oh my God. Look at all that red.
Red cards all the way.
Oh, so that gives me 2 more back to my budget. Yay. Because you had 2. That was a lot.
Who wins ties, the producer or the player?
Great question. There is actually I think it goes alphabetical for high card. So it goes clubs, diamonds, clubs over diamonds, diamonds over hearts, hearts is over spades. So diamonds is over hearts, so that's how it wins. Meaning there's no tie because there's a order of suits. Okay. So that means, do you have more red cards? Yes. Is your highest card higher than the producers? Yes. Both of you guys get a yes and. Okay, how does that work?
Rich, you actually win because you have club queen. You actually...
oh, yeah, you're right. I win because of club queen. Sorry.
Well,
thank you.
at least against IG.
No, you're right. It's because red and black don't matter for highest card. It's just highest card. So sorry, I was looking at my Queen of Hearts and confused. So then that means that IG78, you get a yes, but. So this was definitely a character scene. The yes for Rook is you resist your impulse and everything goes your way. For IG78, you resist your impulse, but there are consequences. Ooh, interesting. All right. Let's figure out how this goes. So Rook, You resist your impulse and everything goes your way. When IG-78, she makes this offer of, hey, let me do all the fighting.
I think Rook looks back. Excuse me. Rook looks back at the set and kind of dreamily, you see a sparkle in the rough Wookiee eyes as a little bit of shiny Wookiee tears, well up, and he's thinking of all the performances and how they've made him feel and how they've made him heal a little bit from his past, and turns back to IG-78 and says, puts a hand on the shoulder that IG-78 said she felt something, and says, I've never had the freedom to even think that before, but you're right. I don't have to fight. That's such a weight off of these shoulders. But I want you to know that I wasn't made to be a performer. I was made to be a beast. Look at these hands. They weren't made to sing. This voice wasn't made to sing, it was made to roar, and these hands were made to fight. But that's not what I want to do. And I encourage you to figure out what it is that you want to do.
I don't want to kill anymore, and I will never fight in the war again. I will try to find what is my purpose, and it can't be killing.
Then we are agreed. We must find a different way through this together.
So you're able to resist your impulse, IG-78, to work through the idea of shame and make this strong declaration, but there are consequences.
Like the way I set it up is the consequences that even if somebody needs the help of like firepower, I will not shoot.
Nice. And so we pick up with seeing IG-78 after that flashback sequence on the ship after the Weequay sent you down there as a security detail to protect Nil Mao and to protect our Toydarian fixer. Nice. I like that a lot. Cool. So we are going to take another commercial break. It is 15 till, and cheese whizzies and chicken whizzies are being advertised during our commercial break. So let's take about 7 minutes, my friends. So we'll meet at 8 till.
Hi, Pavel. How are you?
I'm great. Just thinking about how do I wanna frame next scene. And you?
Good, good. I'm having fun. There's this interesting kind of character development arc mirrored by this like actiony arc. I think it's pretty cool. I really dig it.
Cool. Are you getting the handle on the Roll20?
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not. I don't think we're using it to its fullest extent, but yeah, I am. It's working.
Cool.
Yeah. So did you get third edition Primetime Adventures recently?
Yeah, I bought it. It's like it's like $10 for the PDF. I decided to buy it.
Yeah, I can't read PDFs. I can't read online, so I have to get physical copies, and I'm running out of room. But I'm gonna get it. I played the first Primetime Adventures, and I was really disappointed with it because it just felt like it was very it looked like it had a structure, but it just really didn't. And I don't really feel like it supported what it was trying to do. It was just more kind of, here's an excuse for random player to have fiat. You know what I mean? Whereas what we're doing right now, it does feel a lot more structured and a lot more like cohesive. So I was really disappointed with Primetime Adventures, and I really wanted to play this Star Wars game, and the only reason why I joined it was because it was Star Wars and Rich. And then but now that we're like, I was bummed that you picked Primetime Adventures. But no, I'm really satisfied with it. It's pretty interesting.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I've done that too. Like I signed up for a game because like so and so was running it, and then actually I signed up for a game a while back that Lowell was running because I saw Lowell and it had an open spot, so I took it. And then Lowell actually reached out to me and said, "Rich, you understand that this is like a mystery game where you have to discover a mystery, and you told me on dozens of occasions that you hate mysteries. Are you sure you want to play in this game?" And I was like, no. And I kicked myself and unsubscribed and RSVP because I am so bad at mysteries, guys. Really, I just scream out the butler did it until someone says, "Shut up, Rich. Just get in the back and talk in a funny voice."
I think it's totally fair. You need to know what you are getting into to have fun and to give fun to others. You need to play what you are, you feel.
Very happy that Lowell reached out to me because it just didn't click on my head. I just went, "Oh yeah, this is great," and Lowell's running it. But yeah, Lowell's really enjoys running mysteries, and he's learned that don't run them for Rich because Rich is terrible. Welcome back, my friends. I realized during our commercial break that I haven't generally it's helpful to not necessarily like an initiative, but kind of have a little bit of a turn order just so people know when they're going to be called upon to go. And I think I've kind of bounced around a little bit. So that is a thing that I'm just kind of feedback for myself. I'm putting a milestone out there that I want to try to be more clear with that. I think it's easier for folks to think about what's coming up next. And so rather than popcorning around trying to make sure nobody gets left behind, I'm going to try to set up a little bit more of a formalized order to scenes. We have just had an IG-78 framed scene, and I believe the scene before that was a Nil Mal scene. Am I correct in my memories?
It was framed by you. It was the producer scene about getting out of the spaceport.
Yes, it was. Rich is a producer scene there.
A scene before that was mine.
Okay, cool. So then... so I think it's Isil's turn, right? No, Isil framed up the breakout. So it should be a Rook scene, should it not? All right. So then we're going to go with Rook. here. All right. Isel, Rook, would you like a character scene or a plot scene?
I think since we just had a really good character scene, the plot scene I'm thinking of is Isel and myself escaping on the shuttle while Neil Mao and IG-78 come in to help us against the swoop gang, and it's going to be in the air.
That is fantastic. I love that. That logically flows. That's really a thing that I wanted to happen. But I didn't want to hold you guys back. So this is cool. We start off just for color, and then we'll kind of work into it. Lieutenant Noct is in the air, and he's reaching out. You hear Nil Mao over the comms, like the particular band that you guys in the Archmage use, as Noct say, "Hey, we're coming up hot. There's some swoops coming after us. I see that you're coming, Nil Mao. I need you to cover my 6.
Roger that. We will cover your 6. And I just like shout back, "Hey, IG, get your guns ready. There are some bad guys to shoot."
Yes.
That's the whole reason I wanted this scene, because I just wanted to see IG not fight at all.
I love it. I love it. Cool. So in the hold, again, remember that the Acolyte runner is mostly just there to carry as much cargo as possible. So I don't imagine that it has like really small rooms. It's just kind of like this big trailer that has engines on the back and then an area for people to go. So we have the Wookiees down there, and Anani is busy helping you, Rook, at the beginning of this, freeing the shackles from all of the Wookiees. There are a bunch of embraces. And where is Isel in this scene?
He's there. He's helping with the shackles. He's like kind of being the little like the gopher, like running, like discarding the shackle parts, seeing what can be recycled. We'll go to the recycling bit. You know what I mean? He's probably in the midst of this to Rook going, "All right, I followed your orders. I did everything you asked. What's next? What do I do now?" As if everything was Rook's idea. Like in Isel's mind, Rook was like this commanding, like, "Isel, go take care of the stormtroopers while we,
I love it. Rich, does this ship have guns at all?
I think that it has a pair of dinky turbo lasers that are mostly there to ward off pirates. Yeah, I don't think it's really a defensive kind of thing.
So I think with that in mind, I'm going to say, Isel, man the guns. You're the best one we have for this job.
And I run off.
Cool. And then Rawa, your uncle, says, "There must be something we can do."
What, uncle? I mean, the only thing that even makes sense is you want to open the cargo bay and throw things at them?
There's a moment where he thinks maybe he does want to do that. Anani says, no, he's right. Listen to... Do you guys have a thing? She doesn't realize you guys are related. So we cut to Nil Mao. This is like all one large scene. We cut to Nil Mao telling IG-78 that you need to arm up and help to defend. How are you handling this? Like, what do you do, IG-78?
So is the order to man a gun in the ship, or to get her guns ready to, I don't know.
For sake of fun and for spending budget, I don't think this ship really has guns. So I totally see that I'm like opening some loading ground for you, and the total intent is for you to just like shoot through the open hole and just like at the swoop bikers. That's I think the idea.
Okay. Well, she stands at the bay, the port that is opened, and has her guns ready.
Nice. So Nil Mao, you're having to make sure that you don't throw IG. Although I imagine IG-78 has some kind of magnetic or some kind of tethering going on, so you're able to swoop around because this is Star Wars. It needs to be exciting, and you are able to see IG-78 that you've got a female Gamorrean, a Wookiee, and a couple of other members of Jabba's Chosen that are all hot pursuit after the Acolyte Runner. Acolyte Runner is trying to just head straight up, so you guys are getting in the thinning atmosphere. So I think that anything else, any other setup, any other moments that we want to have before we hit to this conflict? No? Ready for it? So I think that you guys are all going against me. I think I have to, because you guys have been doing a great job of drawing red cards to help me out. I'm going to spend a lot of budget here. Lots of special effects going on here. So I'm spending 5. I'm getting 6 cards, my friends. Crazy. What am I doing? All right. So let's quickly move through. Hopefully we're listening to the music that Pavel shared. I got to get it a little smaller so I can hear people. There we go. Perfect. All right. How many cards do you get, IG-78?
Well, let's see. I get the 2 for my screen presence.
Yep.
And I guess the Edge as a conflicted former assassin.
Yep.
That's my jam. And what else? Like the issue or the impulse?
You don't get cards for issue or impulse. That influences
Okay.
the outcome. Do you have any fan mail you'd like to spend?
I have no fan mail at the moment.
Oh,
I burnt it all on the one
that's
roll.
right. That's right. Okay, cool. So you get 3 cards. That is dealt. Let's now go to Nil Mao. How many cards are you getting, Nil Mao?
I'm getting 2 by default, and then, well, it's a starfight, so I will apply my edge here.
Yep.
Of Imperial Starfighter pilot.
Yep.
So I suppose we see that maybe. So it's IG actually shooting, because you said you will not shoot the next time you are required to.
I will not shoot to kill. So
Okay.
she's definitely trying to, I don't know, like definitely not aim at the target, but close to the target, maybe to distract them. That would be her intention.
Yeah, so I think we totally see some very risky flying from Nil Mao. He just like almost like rams one of the swoop bars out of the way.
Nice. Oh, that's all good. I love that. So let's see. You've got 1 edge. Your 2 screen presence.
Yeah.
Any fan mail?
Nope.
All right.
The less
Oh,
cards,
we ran
the
out of cards. All right, cool. So I'm now going to shuffle.
The less cards I have, the bigger chance for something interesting to happen. So.
All right, cool. I'm now going to recall the cards and redeal. Sorry, my friends. Recall all. And shuffle. And wow, this is so much faster than actual cards. All right, 6 back to me. And we had 3 going to
3 to Forrest and 3 to Pavel.
Okay, cool. I actually can deal 3 cards to both of you at one time. I did it! All right. Sorry, it's way too excited about this. Isol, how many cards are you getting?
2, just 2.
Just 2.
I don't. Oh yeah, it worked.
I'm not going to use it, but how much fan mail do I have?
You should. I'm showing 0. Has anybody given any fan mail to Isol?
I meant to ask, should the person giving it do the transfer, or the person receiving it do the actual transfer and roll 20?
The person giving it should knock down. That's a great point, and I should probably put a little guide thing on our work or roll 20 thing, the person giving it should reduce the audience pool by that number. The person getting it should increase their fan mail by that certain amount.
Okay.
That way,
So
when it's your character, you're the only person that's adjusting stats other than the producer if I need to help.
The fan mail is the green dot?
The fan mail is the green dot. So I'm
Okay.
showing 0 for you, but I feel like someone's given you fan mail at some point.
Yeah, I don't know how much I've
Rook
gotten.
gave you one earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Neil Mal gave you one too.
So you should be sitting at 2.
Okay.
Have we reduced the... Okay, it looks like audience pool is being updated. Good.
Mm-hmm.
I just updated the audience pool 5 more because I just spent that much out of my budget. All right. So any fan mail you'd like to spend on this ISIL?
No, I just...
All right.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have Rook. You got
I'm
3.
going to spend 1 fan mail, so I'll be at 4.
All right. And please let me know if that 4th card is a red.
It is not this time.
All right. And guess what? Because I'm the only person who ever gets jokers, I have a joker. So I'll be dealing myself one more card. Oh, yeah. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I've got 2 reds, my friends. And an ace high. Ooh, but club above spades. So whoever's got that ace of clubs, you beat me on highest card. The queen 9 and 8, is that Neil Mal's or IG78's?
It's Neil Mao.
Cool.
2 aces?
Wow. That is crazy, dude. Okay, I have 2 reds. Let's work through it here. All right. So as we take a look, how does the scene go? This is a crazy level of complexity, but I love it. Do you have more red cards than the producer? For Rook, you do not. So is your highest card higher than the producer, Rook? It is not. So you get a no and. This was a plot scene, correct? So on no and, you don't get what you want, and your impulse is provoked. My goodness, you're getting beat down, Rook. It's the worst. It makes me so sad, but also thrilled. Good. So that means that what is the thing that you wanted to happen?
I think I wanted just all the Wookiees to get away safely. We'll just go with that.
Okay. I have ideas, and then your impulse is provoked. I love this. I know exactly what's going to happen. Good. And so, Neil Mao, you have more red cards than the producer. What is the thing that you wanted?
I wanted to secure. What was the name of this cool ship?
Acolyte Runner?
Yeah, I wanted to secure Acolyte's Runner 6th.
Okay. So then you're on the plot is yes, but. So you get what you want, but your impulse is provoked. So think about that.
I already have it.
Good. ISIL, you do not have more red cards than the producer.
No.
But your highest card is definitely higher than the producer. So it's a no, but you don't get what you want, but you keep it together. What is it that ISIL wanted here?
Well, to knock out some ships or some swoop bikes, but he didn't really. I mean, this is a dinky gun, so he's mostly just it's suppression fire. It turns out to
Okay.
be, and
But you keep it together, right?
Yeah.
So you fire, but your fire isn't effective against the swoop gang. They're able to avoid your shots. That's a nice, easy
they're
talk
just
off.
really really high maneuverability, and I don't.
They certainly are. And then IG-78, because a diamond is higher than a spade, it looks like you do not have more red cards than the producer, but your highest card is higher than the producer. So you don't get what you want, but you keep it together. What is IG-78 wanted?
To keep it together, to be honest, but well, that's not a possibility. So I think, like, realistically, to help them escape without killing anyone.
Oh, nice. So you don't get that.
And I mean, it would be cool to also lose my shit because my issue is aggressiveness. But so I think she's taking these diversion shots or whatever they're called, and then by chance she killed, the pursuers.
Oh, sweet, sweet. So what we have is the swoop gang all moving around as Neil Mel flies around circling, giving IG-78 the opportunity to take off a few pot shots. I'm going to say that Yakark jumps off of his swoop bike onto the Acolyte runner and is trying to force his way aboard. That is when Rawa, your uncle, pops open one of the doors and tries to basically grab this other Wookiee. And Rook, what is the last moment that happens before Yakark yanks Rawa and throws him out?
I think Rook looks up, is hanging out, because at this point I imagine that they're on the top of the Acolyte runner, right? Like this sweet Wookiee battle on top of the ship. So Rook is leaning out, "Uncle, no, come back inside." But Rao was full with his Wookiee rage, just going after it, pissed off about being enslaved and all that. And the Rao is "Nephew, come and help me fight. This is our glory day." And Rook is "No, Uncle, come back in. Come back in." He's reaching up to pull Raura back inside to safety. And I think there's probably a blaster shot or something that shakes the whole ship. And Rook is reaching for Rawa as Yakark. He kind of gets Rawa kind of gets thrown into Yakark, and Yakark takes the moment, grabs him, and throws him off. And Rook's arm kind of does this no.
Oh, that's so sad. Sweet. So I'm going to bounce over to Neil Mao. You said you had firmly in mind what was going on with your. So what happens for Neil Mao?
Yeah, so I was so Neil Mao was piloting in a way that scared the spook bikers to move because they are smaller than our ships. So they had to move when I'm flying. But I see that IG kind of fires more like a pop shots than actually hitting them, and then just shout from the cockpit "You are not authorized to fly into space," and then just literally jump into one of the swoop bikers and then jump into the other. They explode. Probably our ships take some damage, but maybe we lose an engine or something because Neil Mao has a problem that he's actually ruthless. So yeah, he totally uses the shuttle as a battering ram against the spook bikers.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. So what about IG-78? Who does she take out and what does it look like for her? This is hectic, right? You're getting slammed into. So what does it look like for IG-78?
Yeah, I think so. She's taking these shots to just to distract the pursuers. But then I don't know. There's the one with the carapace armor, I think.
Yeah, the big Gamorrean.
Yeah, and so there's some kind of turbulence with the ship, so she misses her aim. You know, I don't know. Is this PG-13 or what is the age?
Yeah, it's basically PG-13.
So yeah, she hits her in the chest then. And we see IG-17 like letting her arms fall, like what's it called, like hang to the sides, leaning back at the wall of the shuttle of the ship, and seizing all action.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, you see Yakark, the Gamorrean, and the Swoop just falling, the two of them separate, and then you guys start to enter the atmosphere, or sorry, start to exit atmosphere. Things start to get hot, and Yakark is now, he's gone from fighting, like he's thrown Rarwa off, and now he's trying to get inside where you are, Rook, because he knows, like, I'm going to get burnt up. Rook, what happens? Does he force his way in?
I think what Rook would do, because Rook is like just watching his uncle fall and is totally distracted. But if he tries to get in, I think Rook would just close the hatch as quickly as possible.
I imagine, like, Isol, you pop in to try to help out, and you guys close off the hatch. Oh, you're muted, Alejandro.
I have the little blaster turret, and I just kind of like just start trying to shoot him off the ship, like literally just like shooting at the ship itself, but you know, like just trying to send shots like right.
Wow, crazy. Okay. So unfortunately, Yakark is not going to get inside, and then the Acolyte Runner takes off with Yakark trying to leap onto Nil Mal's shuttle. IG-78, you could perhaps save him. What do you do?
So yeah, I'm trying to pull him inside, obviously.
Sweet. Then you can do it. Because let's see, making sure you've got, yeah, you kept yourself in control. So Yakark is now currently a prisoner. So we're going to cut to a plot scene, mostly so I can fulfill a next time on. As we start with 4 Wookiees standing with Captain Bando, and him saying, "We didn't get paid for this." And he tells you, says, "Nil Mal, IG-78, take this one to the brig and just deal with these other 3. Rook, can you take your people and keep them out of my damn way?"
They'll earn their keep, I promise, Captain Bando. I promise.
We'll see. Cool. So, working through, yay for us. We got one of our next time ons. Yeah, and I also have another one that I want to slip in later because I think we can easily get to that. Isol, it is your turn, my friend.
Okay, so he wants to go back for Rorwa because he's not going to let Rook down, and it's a personal failure on.
Just so we're clear, Rorwa fell hundreds and hundreds of feet in the air.
Yeah. People
Like,
survive
come
that.
back to try to
People-
recover his body? Is that
People survive falls like that, and
Especially
look-
in Star Wars, people fall very great heights and survive. So
yeah,
okay? Fair.
Darth Maul survived being chopped in half. So,
Yes, this is true.
so yeah, so as Captain Bando is leaving, Isil's like, "We got to go back. We got to go back," and Captain Bando's like not having it. So Isil just jumps in his ship and starts flying out. Whether if the doors don't open, he'll shoot it, but he'll fly out.
Well,
He's
Bando knows exactly how expensive it is to replace those stores, so they do open.
And you know, before I fly down, like the last thing I say to Rook is, this is for you, Rook. I won't let you down." And yeah.
Hey, man. Oh, poor guy. All right. It sounds like you are framing up a scene for. Is this plot or is this character?
I think it's plot at this point. I'm gonna really lean in on character when it's my scene, when it's my episode. So
Right.
yeah. So yeah, so I'm landing outside of the city, and I'm sure I have some sort of like Star Wars version of a segue, so I can like get into the city, or can I like scan for him? I don't know how this works, but can I scan for him, like if he fell outside of the city, or like
Sure. I mean, if we want to call it plot, we want to keep it as like a nice, snappy scene. It can easily
Yeah.
be a thing that in the editing room we kind of splice together. You tracing things, and there's a couple of like vector graphic things of like the descent and the angle and all that stuff where you head towards the body. I think the plot thing is, are you able to recover his body or not? Right?
Yeah.
Is that the thing? Cool. So let's go ahead and let's just move that onto a conflict because of where we're at for time, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend down on my budget. I'm going to spend 3. That means I get a total of 4 cards, and I'll add 3 to the audience pool. That takes it up to 9. And I'm giving myself those 4 cards. What about you? How many cards do you get in this one?
2. So how does, because I'm in my ship coming down, and my ship is my set piece, but
It's not an edge or a connection. What it would do is refresh your edges and connections if you'd used any up in the previous scenes in the game.
I used all of them.
Okay, cool. So they're refreshed. You can use them again. So, Jedi could definitely come in here. You get a sense of the Force type deal. Being an awesome pilot or rebel soldier, maybe you've had to recover folks. However you want to narrate, if you feel like those edges will come into play.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna lean on both of them.
Okay.
Both my edges. Yeah.
Sounds good. Spending any fan mail?
I have 2. Yeah. Why the hell not? I'll use 2 of them.
Wow. So you're getting a total of 6 cards. Here we go.
There we go.
I got 2 reds.
2 reds.
Oh, your last 2 cards were those reds?
Yeah, my last 2 cards are reds.
Guys, got so many reds. So many reds.
Is it too late to give him a fan mail
Oh, no, not too late.
for like to use in the scene?
Too late to use in the scene, yeah, but
Okay.
I think he's trounced me, so we'll see. I see mini reds and I see a highest card, so you get everything. I'm just going to hand you narration because you have more cards, more red cards and highest cards. So in a plot, you get what you want and you keep together. So what does this look like?
So I where Rorar is, he's actually like being dragged, like he's pretty broken, like he's being dragged off. There's some swoover bikes like around him, maybe like 4 of them, and so I land a little bit far away from them, so I'm not like directly engaging them when I land the ship, and I use my little, like I said, Segway, Star Wars version of the Segway, as I fly up to them, and they're actually like taunting him and tormenting him. He's like, clearly has like a broken arm and a broken leg, and they're like, "Get up, you fool!" And they're like zapping him, and like he's enslaved again. You know what I mean? It's very clear, and like it's like he manages to get up and like to swing and misses, and another one like shoves him over, and he just easily falls down. And I just leap off of my Segway, and I just like start shooting the guys. And with my force power, like I just Rora is laying on the ground, and he just slides straight towards me, and Lance smacks into me, and I fall back, but I'm still like shooting them, and I actually take out the four guys, and I'm like, and then I grab Rora by like the scruff of his head as his eyes are like kind of rolling up in his head. I'm like, Rora, come on, you're with me, stay with me, and I'm like holding it up, and then we get onto the Segway, and as we're like heading back to the ship, more swooper bikes are heading in, but we're able to like fly out of there.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. You've got a very broken and beaten up Rorwa that you have saved. So in our Nil Ma, you get to frame up the next scene, Nil Ma. You want a character or plot scene? It looks like you guys have successfully recovered folks. You can jump forward time, whatever you want.
Wait, I'm typing fan mail. ISO for Culturatrix. So I'm thinking, because plot-wise, we should be somehow around Act 3 or something. Yeah. So yeah, I suppose, yeah, it's like sometime later, we see that our ship is probably on lockdown, like from the Port Authority, because we were docked to some refueling station. I don't know, it would make sense for me. And yeah, and we have to somehow get our way to like somehow like for someone to like allow us to undock safely from the refueling port station. So I totally imagine the scene. That was really hard, because last time I said something about me and Annie Ann, but I can't seem to have an idea how to frame it.
Yeah, it was Nilmal and Ani working through some corridors, and Nilmal saying we shouldn't, and blaster fire happening.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's so hard to frame it in a certain act, in a certain way.
It can be. Often I'll try to do my next time on is like in the first act, because those are more free before we start to lock things down. Don't worry about it. It's just a suggestion. It could be one of those where people fuss about it in the forums. Like, they said this would happen, but it was the pilot, and we reshot some of the scenes. They ended up on the floor.
Yeah. So I think this scene actually takes place. This scene actually takes place back down on Tatooine. We are in the cantina, and we see Neil Mao, and in front of him, opposite on the other side of the table, sits a man that we could very easily picture as wearing Imperial uniform, but he's wearing normal clothes. We can even see his hair just like cut, especially for the shape of this like Imperial hat, but he doesn't have it, and it's clear that he feels very awkward not wearing it. And and Neil Mao is there to convince this Imperial officer that he should release our ship, because he still has a mission to carry, and holding down the ship that doesn't make sense. He needs to like find out more. That's what this will be about. So I think it will be like, yeah, it will be like a plot scene, but with strong character connection, I would say.
Okay, so because this is an Imperial, I assume is a human. You use the male gender, so let's call this guy. He's from the Tatooine Docking Authority, right? This is the person you're trying to convince to let you guys go. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And where are we meeting? Just so I'm clear, that's the part where I kind of missed.
We are of course in this cantina from Star Wars Part 4, where we see this like band playing some weird drinks being handed from the bar, and crowds of various aliens passing through, some Gamorrean, someone, and then somewhere in the back we see like a camera zooms into this like two men just sitting at a table in the corner.
Cool. So then the setup or like some of the interstitial stuff is that right now you guys are effectively like the Archmage is impounded, as it were, at the spaceport where it had docked for refueling because of the things that have happened on Mos Eisley. You're down here to try to negotiate some sneaky way around. Of course, officially, the Captain Bondo has asked his Vib to handle this, but you're trying to do an end around. Okay, got it. I like it. We're going to say that this guy's name is Garo Melnau, and he's there with the music happening in the background. Get a few Twi'lek dancers going on, and he very uncomfortable here. He says, "Were you exposed? Why are you here? Why are you here?
I need you to release the Archmage from the lockdown without making any more, like, we can't yet apprehend them. We need the ship free. They need to go. We need to. They need. Yeah, and he like stumbles like they, and then they need to go to their next mission, and then we can recapture them."
Stole Wookiees, stormtroopers were hurt, made a fool out of us.
It's a backwater Tatooine. Like, who cares? This is not like they're not like core worlds.
Tell me this. Bondo is the leader, is he not?
Yes.
All right. I need your personal guarantee. Are you willing to put your entire career on the line? That this will pay off?
Yeah, I think you nailed here. Here's the conflict. Like, is he because the camera like turns to Neil, and he's like, "Am I really willing to do it?" Like,
yeah. All right. I am spending 4 out of my budget because we are nearly out of time. So why not? And 17 minus 4 is not 4. So there we go. I'm getting 5 cards. What about you?
I don't think I can rely on connection if they are not in the scene, or
Not really.
I don't know. Yeah, so I will just take my 2.
This is not going to go well for you. That's my prediction or my hope. Does anyone want to spend fan mail to try to have some influence in this scene?
I would like to spend fan mail.
All right.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's just one fan mail?
1 per 1. 1 for every 1 card. It costs 1 fan mail.
Just out of curiosity, guys, you can spend fan mail to just appear there and join the negotiations, and it will make it even more awkward.
Yeah, no,
that's interesting.
Yes.
I don't say I don't know how to I want to spend it because I think this is a really awesome scene and I really think this is a really awesome conflict for Nils, but I really want it to be random. So because I really want to see how it. I don't know. I'm gonna spend 1 because it's good.
Okay, cool. And then Rookie, let me ride.
So you just need to. So are you spending this against me or for me? Because that's you need to decide.
Actually, I think you can just look at the card and reveal. Unless I remember incorrectly.
I think you need to decide before you like hand out the card. I'm not sure.
No, I'm gonna do it for you, I suppose.
If you're not in a scene, you can spend 1 point of fan mail to draw 1 card for or against the protagonist in one scene. Spend as much fan mail as you want to get additional cards. Any cards bought with fan mail that count as points earn the producer a point of budget at the end of the scene. So it's
okay.
Yeah, it's not clear that you have to declare.
Can you reiterate what the goal is? Like what success and failure means?
Great question. So
the thing is whether Neil will put himself on the line for the ship, whether he will decide that yes, he will not vouch for the ship to be released, or whether he will not. Also, I need 1 extra card because I had a joker.
Oh, okay, thank you. I will take care of that. Someone else other than me got a joker. Yay.
And yeah, I'll take a fan mail as well, but I'm going to give it to you, Rich.
Okay. So, I'm giving it to Powell.
All right.
So, one last question. So I could spend a fan mail to be in the scene.
Yes.
And that doesn't affect the number of cards.
You'd just be putting yourself in the scene.
You can join the conflict and draw the cards as normal.
That's
then.
true. Yeah, you can spend a fan mail to be in the scene, which then would allow you to use your screen presence and edges and connections if you bring it to bear.
Yeah, I think I like the idea that IG 78 is just in the background of the scene, observing the interaction. And so getting suspicious about how loyal is our pilot, actually.
Oh, that's gorgeous. That's
perfect.
Really good. I like that
just
a lot.
Perfect.
All right. Let's do some reveals, my friends. I'm King High with 2 reds. And if you want Rook, we'll go ahead and put your card near you, but I know it counts towards me. Nice, I've got 3 reds. All right. So Nilmal, you only had the 2. It looks like you are King High because Isil's supporting you.
And it's a King of Clubs.
It's the King of Clubs, which is higher than. So you do have highest card.
So the best result.
The end result is that you do not have more red cards than the producer, but your highest card is higher than the producer. This is a plot scene. So it is a no, but you don't get what you want, but you keep it together. So he says, are you willing to put your career on the line?
I'm just trying to process how does it influence my answer, because
yeah, right.
No, it's no but. So yeah, I suppose he says, I suppose he like looks around just uncomfortably. He probably doesn't see IG because they are cloaking like too well. Or maybe that he does the moment he like sees the IG like standing there, and he does like Neil corrects himself and just like says, no, we don't have enough money to buy our way off. No, it was a bad way like meeting with you here. No, and like stands up and just like walks somewhere close to IG and just like says like, oh, God damn it, he wanted so much. He wanted that like too much money, too much of the bribery.
Yeah, and you just see the expressionless, obviously, face of IG-78, and then like random red lights in her face blinking up, which is her equivalence of being very skeptical.
Oh, that's That's juicy, guys. That is nice. So I'm going to add Garo Melnau to our cast list. He is an Imperial control or handler. Melnau. And it is possible that IG-78 is aware of that treachery. So let's work down our scene order to IG-78. You get to frame a scene.
I mean, just a clarification. The Spotlight character, the episode is about the core conflict about the Spotlight character.
Mm-hmm.
And not every scene has to work towards that goal, but I mean, to keep it a little bit together, I would rather have another character scene with.
Thank you. I think that's a selfless and really productive thing to frame, especially when we look at time. So thank you for that. I think it's a good idea.
So, do you have another set, Rook, or is it just the like the band?
Well, there's a personal set. You can set it anywhere and just bring that character in.
Yeah. So I put the droid. I'm sorry.
Oh,
go
ahead.
on. Okay. So I was thinking about in the droid repair shop. And Rook, what could you want from her? Maybe some like stage design stuff, like what's it called?
Pyrotechnics or something?
Yeah, or like a fog machine or something for your next gig.
A repair of the palm tree that was broken by the Stormtroopers.
Not sure. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, I think some kind of a set thing makes sense.
So we see IG-78's set for the first time. So it's just a corner of that repair shop that that belongs to her. There's an old there's like an old sewing machine and like half a dress that she's obviously working on. Normally she wears nothing. She's a robot. And so we see her, and then maybe in the corner is also, I don't know, like an old teddy bear or something, and like a postcard from a planet. And her first picture that she drew with like a felt pen or something. That looks like super childish. And we see so IG-78 in the background, and then there's the focus is on Rook and Keski discussing the machine. Do I have to say what the conflict is about already, or do we just play it out?
We can find it.
So, and I think what IG-78 is doing is looking at the footage that, for some reason, was made during the escape scene, and she's repeating the moment when she shot that one person. So she watches the scene, and then on some kind of screen, and then presses repeat and watches it again from a different angle. And when she hears Rook's voice, she turns around and she turns the IG 88 and 78. They can rotate their upper body 360, so very creepy looking. She rotates and she says to Rook, "A question, please."
And Rook, you can tell Rook keeps glancing at his communicator, hoping that there's a message from Isel about his uncle. But Rook turns to IG-78 and he sees the screen behind that IG-78 was watching, and it's still repeating, of course. And Rook kind of, hangs his head a little bit and walks over, says excuse me to the droid repair lady. What species was she again?
She's human.
Human, okay. 1 second, Kasky. And IG-78, yes, of course.
How's any news from your uncle?
Rook looks at the communicator again and says, I haven't heard anything yet. I'm just trying to keep my mind off of it. I wish I had gone with him. I wish I had been able to go down there.
Well, I read do you know the trolley problem? Have you ever heard about it? It's a philosophical problem. There's a trolley and it runs down 2 lanes, and it runs down a lane, and you can change the course of the trolley. If you pull the lever, 5 people die. If you don't pull the lever, 10 people die. What do you do?
I think you see this struggle on Rook's face. He says, "That's no choice at all. I don't think I could choose."
Is it? I think I could have maybe saved your uncle if I would have shot more precisely.
No, IG-78. You can't think like that. This is not healthy. I've been down that road. There's countless moments I could have done something different, but I didn't have the strength at the time. And all that means to me is that next time I have to use that pain to find the strength to do the right thing.
But we never know what the right thing is until afterwards.
Yes, often that is true. But we're still learning every time, aren't we?
I don't know. And she points at the sewing machine and the dress is completely out of shape. And one side of the arm is longer than the others. And and she says, I know how to kill, but I don't know how to sew.
I think Rook looks over, and right next to the dress is this guitar that IG-78 has been turning into a weapon for Rook, or at the very least for one of the performers. And Rook grabs it and holds it for a second, plays like a beautiful little melody on it, and says, IG-78, I don't think we need this to be a gun anymore, and hands it to IG-78. I think it can just be a guitar.
I think
that's the conflict.
Yeah, right there. That is gorgeous.
Will it be a guitar for IG-78 or will it be a gun?
Okay. Oh, by the way, I think we had a card that didn't get revealed. Hold on. It was under IG-78. I dealt it to you last hand. On how to unsteal crap. how to do that. Anyway, I was trying to steal it or something. Anyway, see if you can toss that out and let's get this new. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, and that was a red, so yeah, it didn't have any effect. I am going to spend 3, so I get a total of 4 cards. How many cards do you get, Rook?
I'm going to use my performer edge that I still have, and so I'll have 4.
Oh, and don't forget, you refresh because you're at your thing. Is anything else, any other cards you want to spend?
I don't think so.
All right, and then what about IG-78?
So, because her intention is to... the conflict is if Rook wins, then it's a guitar. If IG-78 wins, then it's a gun, I think.
I think so.
So in this case, her background as a killer definitely applies.
Yeah. So that's 3. Do you want to spend any fan mail?
I think I have 2. Is that true? Like I'm not in the chat on Roll20. I see 2 for me that I haven't used.
Okay. So then we should be updating that in your little character thing, and I just added it to 2. So you're going to spin that for a total of 5?
5.
Oh man.
Shit's getting real.
Well, you guys are definitely going to be beating me out because I just got 1 pitiful red and only a 10.
I have 2 red and 3 black.
Nice. And then what about Rook?
I've got 3 red, queen high.
Okay. So this is one of the weird things we'll have to work through. Do you have more red cards than the producer? Both of you do. This was a character scene. Sounds like it was. Just making sure. Okay. And I believe both of you have a higher card than the producer. But you were somewhat opposed. So in a way, we should probably go with the most red cards to the character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it would make the most sense if if we just compare our
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So you guys compare your red cards and see who has the most. And I think that's Rook, right?
Yeah, and
I think so.
So I would get a no, but isn't it?
So you would get a actually, you guys, yeah, if you compare each other's and kind of take me out of the equation, me, the producer, then IG-78 gets a no because you do not have more red cards and you don't have a higher producer. So yes, a no bot.
And who gets yes and?
Oh. You're right. It's a no and. So if we replace producer with the other player character.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
So it's a no and is a yes and for Rook.
Yeah. So talking through it, Rook makes the item a guitar. So but I like IG-78 also what's it called? I do need to default to my instincts, isn't it?
It mentions that there's consequences to.
Right. So you give into your impulse. You've got to know, and you give into your impulses and your consequences. So there's not even a silver lining. This is bad. This is a bad thing for IG-78.
I know.
It's the worst. I love it.
Do you want to start, Rook, or shall I?
So I think I'm trying to find in my mind a compromise between these two results. So like I'm getting exactly what Rook wants, but there's also going to be your impulse needs to activate, and there's some kind of consequence.
Mhm.
So I think that you're going to agree to modify the guitar, remove the gun from it, but I think there's also going to be some kind of stagnation within your character, not actually like, even though this moment meant something for Rook, for IG-78, maybe it was kind of not so much. So I think Rook is smiling as he hands the guitar over to IG-78 and says, I think working through this project can help you, just like the dress, just like the other things. I think that the more time we spend away from our nature, the more our nature can change. And that's what I wish for you, IG-78. I feel like I am on that path, and that's the path I want you to be on. And I will always support you with that.
And IG-78 takes the guitar, plays an E minor, which is just 2 fingers, and the sound is actually quite okay. She strums it, and she turns to you and says, "Thanks, Rook. I don't know if playing the guitar will solve the problem. I don't know if I'll be able to turn pain into something valuable, but I'm very grateful that you're trying." And the end for me is after the scene, we will see IG-78 sitting with the guitar on her lap and then crushing it slowly into just a piece of wood.
Nice.
Love it.
Cool. So based on time, we will now effectively bring the episode to a close. If you guys can think for just a brief moment, we will ask for next time ons, and then anybody can stick around after. We'll do feedback and talk through that. So I'll just head through the normal way. Rook, what is your next time on?
Oh, I think we see Rook like reaching out, grabbing the shoulder of what's clearly IG-78 from behind, and saying, "No, IG, no!" And then we hear a blaster shot.
Cool. Isol, what is your next time on? Alejandro?
Sorry. Next episode is Nil's episode, right? Yeah. Can you come back to me? Because I want to think of...
Sure. So IG-78, what is your next time on?
Obviously, if it is Neil Mao's Spotlight episode, then we see IG-78 and the captain standing, and IG-78 shows the footage of Neil Mao talking to, obviously, an Imperial officer.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just want to point out that he was also undercover. He was not like in Imperial everything.
I know. Maybe there's another photograph with him in.
You get push hard on it. I love it. Good. Neil Mao, what about you?
Well, I think we see Neil and Anyan, and she obviously has some kind of weapon, but we don't see it. It's like her hand is like covered by like Neil's shoulder, and Nyan says, "So tell me who you really are."
Sorry, I was writing. Sorry for the long pause. Alejandro, Isel, what is your next time on?
Okay. I'm a little stuck because I wanna formulate something with Nils. Like I have this image of us in the brig, but Nils not in, like, he's not in the cell. But maybe he's being escorted in, or maybe he's just standing there, but we're in the brig. And it's just Isel saying to Nil, just it's just saying, regardless, you are the best pilot.
Okay, cool. All right, it is exactly time. So if anyone needs to go, feel free. I respect your time. If you can stick around for another 15 minutes, we'll do our feedback session. I do want to take a 2-minute bio break, and also we can just kind of step out of it and come back. So I'll see you guys in 4 minutes after the hour.
About the whole fan mail and an audience pool thing, is there like a button that I can click?
Yeah,
Or-
let me real quick do a quick screen share, and hopefully I apologize. I know it can get a little confusing. So the process that I tried to lay out is I will spend for my budget, right? And so let's say I spend 2 for my budget, so I'll go down to an 8. I will then go to the audience pool, which is right here, and that will go up by 2. So then I type in 9, enter, done. And so if, say, Alejandro wants to give a fan mail from the audience pool to IG78, you'll either, well, my preference is, since it's persistent, you just type in, Alejandro would type in fan mail to IG78 for funny joke. And then Alejandro would go and take that 9 down to an 8 and hit enter, of course, you as a player of IG78 would need to go here and adjust your screen presence up by 1. Go to 2 and hit enter. So see how it says you enter a new value and just hit enter? Like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I should have done that at the beginning of this session. I apologize for not having done that.
There's my thorn. Here you go.
All right, it's a good one. We started with Horst doing a totally logical thorn. There's lots of audience pool in there, so if anybody needs to do late breaking fan mail, there's at least one you can give out to folks. No problems. So, Horst, did you have any other thorns that you wanted to share? Critical feedback, moments of confusion, anything like that?
I think the game's not really very how to phrase it, like there's not the natural flow of role playing. You're very like the way the game is set up with conflicts and so forth feels a bit artificial. So sometimes I would like, it's a thing of the games, of the rules, and I accept that the rules are the rules, but I prefer like role-playing games in general, where the flow is more natural, where you're not like pressed into like this confined space where you only have these limited options of how to act. So, for example, sometimes like, for example, the scene where IG78 by chance shot somebody, it's like another reaction would have been more natural if the result was just been, here is your partial success, interpret it any way you want. It would have been more like, it would have made more sense. So that's my thorn towards PTA, but I think that's my thorn, and I don't know if you have to write it down, to be honest. That's my thorn with every single story game I've ever played, that the rules force me to do things that don't feel appropriate all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I think another thing, and this is my own personal thorn, big group scenes don't work very well in Primetime Adventures.
Yeah.
It's really a game where you just need to have 2 characters at most in a scene, and you just need to pop. Like, the scenes need to be kind of quick, and they're about the characters' issues with some plot that we can all hang structure off of. I feel it's very like Star Trek Next Generation. Like, there's definitely a plot, but there's a whole lot of like side conversations that are dealing with per B plot issue that of character trying to resolve their thing.
I mean, that is okay for me if there's like there's the main story and then you have 2 side stories. But I think a good idea is to have like 2 PCs max in a scene in order to focus it, especially if there's the rolling. It makes no sense at a certain stage. If everybody has a different agenda, like 4 people have a different agenda, then there's the producer with their agenda.
Yeah, I feel like
interpreting the results makes no sense at some stage.
Yeah, it gets a little weird. It does, and I didn't want to say no because I wanted to work out the big action sequence, but I almost feel like the action sequence maybe would have been better not being the conflict of the scene. That if I could have put several little conflicts within that scene for each of you guys to effectively go against me for, and kind of broken it up a little bit, probably would have worked a little bit better within the mechanics of PTA. Yeah, I have thoughts. It has been over a year since I've run PTA, so a lot of these foibles I take upon myself, but I do think there are some aspects of playing Primetime Adventures that are different from playing other games. So who would like to go next with Thorns?
Okay, I will jump into this chair. Like, I feel like a big brother chair. Yes. Like, how do you feel?
It's on you.
Yeah. So we failed to deliver the next time on from the last time. That's one part. Now, again, this game has like kind of like a structure in acts I'm not sure if we should talk about this or feel about it, but I kind of feel that we resolved the entire action of this episode very early, and then it was all character stuff. It was good, but kind of really awkward. So that's part. We resolved the action too early, and then it was only currently character scenes. There was no more plot. After we escaped, yeah, done, cool, swoop back down. But we also did it in a way of like free conflict. So like getting into the spaceport, boarding the shuttle, escaping. A very constrained way of doing actions. It was very hard for me to somehow frame myself doing anything else anywhere around it, or having a scene. Like I didn't exchange a single word with the main character of this episode because I wasn't there to exchange. I was on different ship or up above.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's not.
It was very hard for me to frame myself to be in this constrained plot. I kind of feel that maybe because the guys kind of like failed on their like getting into the spaceport, so maybe we can move action somewhere else rather than pick up exactly there. Just like pick up, I don't know, you guys were captured, or like some of you were captured, some of you were not captured. Then we pick up like what happens next, and then you can like, instead of you framing the scene as a producer, because it has to be like a natural continuation, you can get the player to frame the scene. We know that you are captured, so is it like a character scene of interrogation or a plot scene of your escape? Kind of gives us more freedom rather than being in this constrained line going to, I don't know. That's how I feel.
Right. I think I agree with you, and I think that we're all kind of trained to think, oh, well, we need to go the next step along the path, when we really can't play with that structure. We really can move things around. That's why I will preview a Rose to Horse for breaking out of that and doing a flashback that really set up and gave emotional heft to future scenes. I want that to be a thing that you guys all feel comfortable doing. And unfortunately, we only have 2 more sessions to get in that habit. And I apologize that I didn't do a better job of helping to guide you guys towards that.
Yeah, but Pavel, you can frame your scene however you want. You can frame your scene with the main character like 10 years later, 5 days before.
But then we completely break but serials are not made this way. Serials are about something, and character stuff happens along. You cannot just like jump 5 years in the future.
Yeah, but like an episode is about the central conflict, and the central conflict of the Spotlight character is that he is timid and that he has to choose between being a performer and being a rebel. And I think that in order to put your character in that, central conflict, I think you can have like the discussion beforehand about, for example, that your character is also, uneasy with being a spy or something, like identity in this case, like the identity as a performer, identity as a spy could have been a central theme.
At the risk of going further past our allotted time, I'd like to kind of parking lot that. I think there are some aspects of PTA that I would love to have that conversation and explore it, but let's kind of pull it back a little bit, because I think that's a healthy conversation, especially as we learn the game. Pavel, any other
I thought to myself, because of the above, I kind of used my scenes to frame my own stuff and set up for the next episode rather than help the main character, because I couldn't think of how can I play with the main character of this episode, so I just used them to spotlight my own character. And I kind of feel bad because we were supposed to help Joshua character, but I used my scenes to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and I never said this, but you can, once it comes around to your rotation, when we're going to continue with the rotation, I think it helps. But you can actually say, you know what, I'd like to see a scene with so-and-so, and you can effectively give it up. Didn't mention that. That's the thing that actually didn't occur to me. That was a thing that I've seen in previous sessions that was, kind of nice. Like, oh, I can do a thing, but all I can think of is this thing that's kind of off here, tangent type deal. I do like the setup, though. That said, I do like the setup of Neil Mal towards, like, I feel like we have a good, strong heft for that particular episode. Thank you, Pavel. So Alejandro or Josh, who would like to go first for Thorns?
I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't think I really have anything extra to add to the two previous Thorns. I still feel like I'm learning how the whole thing goes, just because the resolution mechanics, like Horst was mentioning, kind of put you into a resolution. Like they give your character the materials to go with, and there's a little bit. You're still deciding how it happens, but not necessarily exactly what happens sometimes. And so adjusting myself to that is still taking a little bit, but I'm actually enjoying it. So, like I like that kind of framework because I think it makes the characters more surprising, and then playing within that is been really fun. So, anyway, that's it.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. And then Alejandro, what Thorns did you have?
So I do agree with Horst and Pavel's critiques of Primetime Adventures. I did have a blast. I really think that the system really does a really good job of giving you this this television series story, and I think everybody's okay. So I'll bring that up with my rose. My struggle that I was having was like I was like every scene I set up was about my character, but was pointed at Rook at like to show how Rook was failing, not failing, but just like he was being put in this position of a leader that doesn't exist, and that ISIL was just kind of just I was playing ISIL to that kind of to try to draw out that conflict within Rook, but it wasn't really happening. They just kind of came out like as like these cute scenes, like of what ISIL was doing these really heroic things in Rook's name, but it didn't really play out in any actually play out in any emotional way for Rook. Like it was all about Rook, but it was all ISIL. Does that make sense?
It does, and I was challenged as the producer trying to find a way to fold it back in to pay off what you were setting up, and I just wasn't sure where to.
I think the problem was kind of me like trying to wrap my head around how to angle either my dialogue or my descriptions in such a way that is really pushing on Rook. Furthermore, my scene, my epilogue, whatever the last scene was with Nils, I was trying to set something up, and I think I totally failed at this. But I was trying to set something up where like ISIL is perhaps stupidly supporting Nils and like really making this like having Nils. There's this conflict with Nils where like which way do I go, and Nils and ISIL's like I believe in you. You know what I mean? Like that kind of cheesy. I believe in you. You can do it. You know which way is right. But I just totally didn't even. It was just some kind of. I don't even think it even addressed that. So
I definitely felt that. Like I found that fascinating how hard ISIL believes in Rook and how much doubt Rook was having. I don't think we got to see it play out, but it was part of my headcanon, if that makes any kind of sense. Like I definitely felt that. I saw where you were headed with it, and I thought it was a really interesting angle.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. Thank you.
So we'll stick with you for Roses, where you can give feedback to things you enjoyed about other characters' play or moments in the game that thrilled or delighted you.
Again, I think it was a really fascinating episode, and I would have loved to have watched this episode like on TV. I think that this game really helped create what a TV show, what you would expect from this type of TV show. And like my last thing, I gave a fan mail to everybody. I think you guys did an excellent job, like really pushing your characters. Horst, I think you putting people in different situations that really made them question their issues was really fantastic. Same with you, Pavel. You guys did a really great job at like pushing on issues, either your guys' issues or Rook's issues, and then Josh, I think you did a fantastic job, like really struggling through Rook's personal issues. So this was I loved how you all pushed or received the push, for lack of a better term. So fantastic, great job, guys. Rich, I think you did a good job. I think you did a really good job, like carrying the scene or the episode, and I don't know. I thought it was really good. Tight episode. I really had a lot of fun.
Cool. Thank you, Alejandro. Appreciate it. Josh, what roses did you have?
Like you said, rose to Horst for kind of jumping out of the linear continuity and building that. Since we hadn't seen IG-78 and especially Rook and IG-78 together, I thought that was just like really great to have that little flashback, and then it completely influenced the scenes that happened after that. And I really liked how that worked out. I enjoyed the action scene a lot, even though the resolution, I agree, was kind of hard to figure out, like what is going to be everyone's goals. But just in my head, that felt like something you would see as the main climax of a movie or a TV show or something. And how everything played out was great. Rich, rose to you for making one of the Wookiees my uncle or related to me. Driving that forward was fantastic. And Paul, I actually really enjoyed your scenes that weren't directly related because, TV shows have these B plots and things like that are going on, and we need something to jump away to kind of break the tension a little bit from the main thing that's going on. And just in general, Isol's character Alejandro, I didn't realize that that's what you were doing with Isol, and so I apologize for that. But your support of Rook was really cool, and I wish we had had more time for our characters to communicate. So
cool. Thank you, Josh. And I think that's a good note for us to maybe we should have a little bit of behind the scenes conversation of like, hey, just so you know, like this is my angle. I think that's a good idea, especially in a game structured like this, which is so much like you're playing a character, but you're also kind of a writer, in the writer's room a little bit. So good note. Pavel, what roses did you have, sir?
A rose for Horst for playing an awesome support role and really emphasizing on other characters while playing his own character very well. It was really, really cool what you did with your two scenes with Rook. Really, really great. A rose to you, Rich, for asking the very good question toward Neil's loyalty toward the ship. It was really excellently framed conflict over there. and throws to Joshua for being this like very conflicted Wookiee that isn't as aggressive as we would expect from seeing a Rookie in a rebel party. You would expect a Rookie just to see a Wookiee to just like pull off hands, and this one is like so different. Playing against the archetype of normal Wookiee is really cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed the session. It's it's learning for me. I'm learning the system as well, seeing its flaws and problems, so that then I can bring it to my own table and see how it goes. So I really enjoyed the overall episode. I think it would be really cool to see. There was some action, there was some shooting, and some hard conversations.
I agree. Last but not least, Horst, what roses would you like to give out?
Rose for you, Rich. I think that you tied it all together. There was a good like drive in the episode. There was no. Sometimes you have like sessions where it's really slow going, and that is the main I think task for the producer is to get the pacing right, sharing the spotlight obviously between characters. I super duper enjoyed this episode. I love playing supportive characters, so I like playing off the main star of a given session. So that is something that I like about PTA in general, and the setup that we had today, because the conflict of IG-78 and Rook's main conflict, they were somehow related, so I could easily play off Rook. And everything I said bad about PTA, I take completely back now, because the way it is set up, like I love that you have the issue and the core concept, and that gives the producer something to push and to probe, and also the other players when they set a scene to very focused think about what do you want the scene to be about. So yeah, I really enjoyed myself. Awesome players, great GM. What more can you ask?
Thank you all so much. I just want to, last thing I want to say is your next time on, Joshua, of being at the bar and not saying something to Rook and punching, that really has to happen. So I'm just like holding that as one of those like, maybe this is the next time on that shows up 2 episodes later, because that just tickles me to no end. Thank you guys so much for giving this your best effort, for being open and kind of critically thinking about this. And this has been a lot of fun for me, trusting in you guys to, maybe we fail a little bit as Rich re-explores this game that he hasn't run in it's been a couple of years. So thank you all so much for that experiment, and we're going to get better. We got over the hump now. 2 more sessions left, 2 more episodes before we bring this to a close. You guys have a great afternoon or evening, and thank you so much for playing with me.
Have a nice week. Bye.